Okay, so if we start out with Zed, Serath, Yasuo, and who was the last one?
What did I even say?
Was there
I
one
think
more?
I think it's like I think those are the like main perpetrators,
Okay,
pretty
fair.
much. And like Ari, but like Ari I can kind of handle having played her as well.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do first. Is I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna talk about because I want to show it to you with a champion you already know. So I'm gonna play Lux in this what's it called? I don't know what this is. What's it called again? Practice? Yeah, practice tool.
Pistol, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pick a random node page because it doesn't matter as much. Do you play with
That is the
TP?
right one, coincidentally.
Okay, you play with TP, right? I think.
Barrier.
Barrier? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. We'll take
That's
barrier then,
what's like
just for the.
MLS approved, because they
Oh,
it actually
interesting.
saves a lot of my like worst plays or tower dives and stuff. It's actually really good.
Okay, I find that somewhat interesting because I think TP gives you the free reset after lost chapter, but I mean follow what MLS says. Don't
Yeah, I mean I agree with you. I like both for
But
different reasons,
we just do this. Oh,
but
and
it kind of forces me to think about my resets more, which is also I
right.
guess good.
Okay, so let's just say that we're level 3, just for the heck of it. And then going to not have minions. I just need some target dummies for this. So, target dummies. Okay. So, let's just say you have. If you have someone like chasing you, right?
Yeah.
Putting your E between the two of you is really strong because then if they have to either walk around it or through it, right? Just have it there as a slow field. So if you're
Yeah, so
getting ganked, having your E is pretty important, right?
yeah, you're right. I kind of
Yeah.
just like throw my Q out and then like I'll throw the E under tower, but that's not always like good.
Right.
Maybe I should just I really need to focus my ability usage a lot more because sometimes I just
Here's what I
miss
think you
abilities.
should do. In lane, when you're farming, don't ever use your Q. Unless you really know that, okay, I'm gonna like go for a trade on my opponent. Like, then you can Q because you wanna like trade with them, right? But tossing out random Qs can be really bad because imagine if the jungler and the mid laner are coming for you and you can like just Q both of them, right? Then what are they gonna do? They're done, right? You just run away.
Yeah, true.
So I think saving your Q for like either a good trade or the jungler showing up is pretty good at the very least. And then thinking about your E, like if you're back here, this your tower's here, and you're like chilling here and you're farming, and the wave is right here, whatever. Then using your E is probably not too bad, especially not if you want to shove the wave. Like if you very quickly just want to like shove the wave, get out, and then recall, then it's completely fine to just use your abilities, right? But if you're like up here, let's just pretend the enemy's not there, but if you're up here, they're farming on the tower, right? Like, you're
Yeah.
very much in danger here, especially if you don't know where the jungler is. So using your abilities is probably not the best idea, unless you're actively shoving to recall, right?
Okay, so it is fine to use abilities to shove. Okay,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
I
do
think
that
if
very
you're
often.
shoving fast and you just need to reset, then I think it's completely fine. And if the jungler shows up, well, then we have to look into like tethering, not tethering, leaning, right? Warding and leaning, but that's a different thing. I think for now, just using your abilities and thinking about when you're using them is probably the best choice. The reason I'm explaining this is because basically if you're facing Lux and their abilities are down, right? Whoops. There we go. Now what is Lux? She can hit
No.
one time and then what?
Yeah,
She's
she's
nothing right now, right? So if
yeah.
you were Nico, for instance, in this scenario, you could just get a free trade on this Lux because she didn't have anything, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's the kind of thing I want you to think about when you're facing any given opponent. What is their key ability? So for Lux, I would say probably her E, because the slow field is, pretty annoying, right? Like either you're gonna run through it or you're gonna run around it, like I said. That's how I feel about Lux, when I face Lux, what I think about. Basically, where is her E? Is it used or not? And when it's flying, like, where is it flying, right? Like, where do I need to dodge? But dodging it is really hard, I think. So, yeah.
It is.
But either way, thinking about if she used her E, that's something I think you should pay attention to. And that's kind of the stuff I want to go through. With Nico, it's like if she doesn't have Q, even if she lands an E on you, what's she gonna do at that point if she doesn't have Q, right?
Yeah, you're just gonna auto attack and leave. Like there's nothing you can really.
Exactly. So that's that's the first thing. So that's just Lux. I just did this so that we could explain a little bit about what the point of this is gonna be.
Since I see a lot of like Yones and Yasuos and stuff, I actually have VODs against each of those matchups. If you want to like look into VODs specifically, or do you want to do it a different way?
Ooh. I was gonna do just in 1v1s and explain to you how I would view the matchup, because I am not good enough to VOD review for people. I don't believe in my ability to do that.
That's fair.
But I believe in my ability to explain how I would play it. Because yeah, I can always explain how I would do things. And then if it doesn't work for you, well, then we can figure something else out, basically. So if we you were fast. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, start and then just tell me what I should play. Do you want me to start out with Yasuo, or who do you want me to start with?
I think that's the hardest one.
Okay. I am not the best Yasuo, but I can certainly try. I think this is the wrong page. And I'm assuming you're playing Lux, right? Or are you okay. Cool.
I mean, it's the same approach whether I play Lux or Nico, really. It's just a range difference, but he blocks all the abilities anyway.
Right. So for Yasuo, there's two things to keep in mind. The first is every third Q he gets a tornado Q. When he has that, you have to respect it and you have to move back a bit.
It's just hard because it always hits me. Like I try to predict it, then I like kind of shuffle.
Right, but if you stand so far away that the range doesn't hit you, that's why I'm gonna show you the range in a bit. So I'm gonna start with my Q, because most Yasuos will start with their Q. Some will start E to dodge your skill shots, but that's probably more higher elo than us.
Yeah, probably. Like they usually go Q.
I don't see it that often. I've seen it like a couple times when they're facing Syndra. But that's very much like Syndra specific, because they can dodge her Q with their E, right?
That's smart. I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah, I've seen it like once, but I don't know if they were smurfing or if they were just like an actual gold Yasuo, you know? But yeah. Either way. What is your first thought here? When it comes to, like, what do you want to do now?
So now, I think I kind of force, because I try to, at least level 1, I kind of get out traded, but at the same time, I can chuck the also pretty much, because I can just auto attack him, get his shield procced, E, get the combat off, and then auto attack again for my passive proc, and he takes a lot of damage. The problem is that also requires me to be in range of his Q and his auto attacks.
That's the thing. Look at my Q range on stream now, because there's nothing you're doing correctly. This is the Q range. Like, I can hit this minion right there.
It's much longer than I thought.
It is a quite long range, but you have longer range than me, right?
Yeah.
So
but it's like a spear shot. It's not like a.
It is, yeah.
I thought you had to be like in complete melee range to hit that.
No. You can kind of see where my blade goes, like that, right? And now if you look at my stream quickly, you can see the tornado range. Oh, it's a little late, but
that's actually pretty big.
It's a long range. That's the thing. So whenever he has that, just like walk back. Even at first, if you lose a few CS, that's perfectly acceptable in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I was like 15 CS down on him, and it wasn't great.
Yeah.
We now try to force and get the proc, but it doesn't really always work. Sometimes they walk into it.
Another
you
thing you
can
should be
get
looking to do is auto the shield away from me and then hit your E when I go to last hit. So I'm going for this minion. You should, yeah, at least try to hit your E.
Yeah, I think I struggle with like knowing when the enemy is going to see us. And Curtis also emphasized that I should learn that, but it's like
Yeah,
for some reason really hard for me.
yeah. There you go. That was good.
I
That
have
was really
this as
good.
well.
There you go.
Okay, good. That's at least something.
Yeah. And then my wind wall currently is 25-second cooldown.
Okay, that's a lot.
That's, yep, so that's also something to be aware of. If I use that, I'm very vulnerable. See? That was the tornado.
Yeah.
So now you know that's down, and that takes, let's see. My Q has almost 4 seconds cooldown, so it'll take me at least 12 seconds to stack that up.
That's smart. I never thought about it that way to like actually think about the cooldown of the tornado.
Yes, exactly. So that's like also a, and see, you got out of range from it. And now you can go back and farm. So the whole idea for you is to force me to use my wind wall and then trade between my tornadoes, because you have like some time, because 25 seconds is a long time, right?
Yeah, that's a lot.
And then
But
he
like,
can
how
also
does
do
one like
this, right?
see? That's me just overforcing. But how do I even like force it out? Because if I use the Q, then I'm very vulnerable, right?
I think if you land your E's consistently, you basically force him to use it, but that's champion mastery.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, Yasuo is actually more of a scaling champion than most of the other like AD assassin champs.
Yeah, he's pretty crazy late game if he gets ahead.
Even if he doesn't, if he just gets to free farm, he's pretty good in the late game.
Yeah, you kind of have to shut him down, which is why he's so scary. But I don't want to ban him because
Yep.
he's not that common, and also like there
They
are
have to
worse
be good.
champions. Like right now, I just ban Yi because Yi just runs me down, and I need to like think about his
Yeah.
Q, and that's just. Eh. Okay, I did the thing
see,
Curtis told me not to do.
Yeah, that's, yeah. But I'm not saying never use your QC. I mean, you got a good trade from it, so I don't think that Q is actually bad, especially because you're at your tower. The jungler is not going to gank you there, right?
Yeah.
So I think you just have to think about, can I get ganked currently? If the answer is yes, then think about, should I be using my abilities or not? I think that would be my main tip for ability usage, and I mean, as Curtis says, time them with my last hits, right?
Yeah. Because he also said that I like throw my Q
Ambitiously,
like too much at like minions and stuff, and I really shouldn't be.
You're very ambitious with them.
Oh yeah.
Is how I would describe that phenomenon.
Because I always think, oh, I can go through this minion, then I'll hit them, and it'll be like.
Ooh,
No,
just on
really
the edge.
good.
Close?
And at this point, I would just need to do this.
Yeah, exactly. And then you reset, and Yasuo doesn't have. Oh my god, I walked into it.
Wow, if I go wasn't to hit you actually there.
Yeah,
and then I would just reset.
Yep.
And then I get my thing.
Yeah, and while I got a bit more CS than you, that's something you can work on over time, right? So
Yeah,
I think this went okay. I mean,
yeah,
it's not the best, but you can definitely work on your E placement, basically. Do you use quick cast, or what do you use?
I use no indicators, so.
Okay. Something worth considering could be indicators. I don't know how much that affects, but I'm gonna leave this one for now. This game.
Because what I've noticed is like when I have dashy champions like Yone, like Yasuo, like
yes.
like Katarina, and sometimes I even try to like hit people and then I miss them. So for example, if I miss an Akali, then she just gets to E on me, E to Q auto and back off because I don't have anything to trade with anymore, and sometimes I just mispredict enemy movement.
Okay, I think the way I would play a lane where I know I can't trade would be to shove and try and get the most optimal resets then. Because let's say I'm in a lane where I feel like I can't land my abilities. Then, okay, if I can't land my CQ, for instance, then I think to myself, okay, well, what can I use it for? Well, I can shove the wave. I shove pretty quickly when I get lost chapters, so if I just shove and get better resets than my opponent, then yeah, maybe I'm not punishing them as much as I could be, but then they are also not killing me. So if their whole thing is that they want to get ahead in lane, such as Akali or whatever assassin it is, but they can't get ahead because I'm just, shoving and resetting whenever there's a cannon or, however you want to, like, reset when you're at your power spikes, then what can they do at that point, you know?
What if like sometimes it's like scary to like reset when because when I do the enemy can get a roam timer and then it's
That's
kind of
true. And this is where I think TP is so good. Like, it basically denies the roam timer, which is why I like it a lot. But again, if it's not what MLS does, I guess you just don't do it. um,
yeah. I mean I like it a lot, but then barrier like also saves me quite a
yeah.
lot like
Do
because
they
people don't expect you to
recommend?
have an extra shield.
Do they recommend TP for any champion in MLS? I'm just wondering now.
Yes. I think it's for Syndra, Oriana,
See, that's interesting to
uh,
me.
was it Vex? Quite a
Mm.
few of them, but then for Lux, no, and I think it's because I think it's just because to like have that extra survivability because she's very squishy. But then I think, but so is Oriana, but
That's
so
what
is
I'm
Syndra.
thinking. Like, here's my thought process. When I play Lux, I play her basically the same way that I would play. I think the same way I would play Oriana, basically. Like, somewhat pokey, but like primarily just shoving waves. And then, like, looking to fight with my team because I have a good ult. Lux also has a great ult for fighting, right? If your team can lock
Yeah,
people down in any way, you can just ult, like, from your lane, basically, right?
yeah, it's
Um,
incredible. She's honestly really good. That's what I was thinking about. Like maybe like swapping from Lux Nico to Lux Ori because Ori's like a lot more like Lux, whereas Nico is
mm,
like dash in, try to kill things, burst kind of assassiny, and then Lux is more conservative, stand there and wait for your good angle, and maybe like I'm playing conflicting styles and it's also kind of messing with me. I don't know.
okay,
Curtis says it's doable though. I don't know.
I have two reasons why that's probably not the best idea. The
Oh,
first is the most important one. Oriana's not easy. Oriana's a hard
true.
champion to play. She, I wouldn't say she's the hardest mid laner, but she is not easy. She's probably up there with Syndra as, like, somewhat difficult. Where Syndra's, I think Syndra's probably more difficult than Oriana. I'll give it that, but I don't think Oriana's easy. It'll take you a lot of games to get a hang of her. And if you're already feeling a bit bummed about ranked, I don't think switching champion's gonna help a whole lot.
Probably not. No.
The
Why do you think she's hard though? Because when I used to play her, she seemed pretty okay. Like she seemed kind of like Lux difficulty, except for the ult.
mm, the thing with Oriana is you need to focus on your ball and your champion at the same time. With Lux, you don't really have that. I guess when you have your E on the ground, you have to, like, focus on clicking your E again at some point. But even if you don't, it's there and it's just like zoning the enemy, right? With
Yeah,
Oriana, you have to really focus on where you place your ball, especially in team comps where you don't have someone to help you get your ball into the enemy, basically.
yeah, that's true.
Ball
You
placement
basically
is
have to.
extremely important. It's like soldier placement for a seer, basically.
Yeah, true.
And the second thing is, if I were to recommend you anything, I feel like I would just stick to Lux and then pick up Nico when you go to MLA.
Yeah,
Nico is harder. Like, she is,
it
because she
is.
needs to get ahead, right? But I
Yeah,
don't think picking up a new champion is gonna solve your issues.
Probably not. I don't know. I mean, I play Nico when Lux is banned, which is not often, but it happens
Right.
more often than it did with any other champion I played.
So here's my question then. Do you get enough Nico games to keep up your Nico?
Kind of, yeah. Like, let me actually look at my little sheet. I can actually tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So, the past games I had, so this is from like 3 days ago, I had Lux, Nico, but then with the remake, another Nico,
Mm-hmm.
because the Lux was taken by the enemy. Then
Mm-hmm.
I had Lux. So 4 games of Lux, then 1 Nico, then 1 Lux. So it's like 2 to 3 Lux games to a Nico. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So it's not the worst, I don't think. But
Yeah,
I
it
am a bit
happens.
concerned about maybe not getting enough practice in on Nico.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like praying that my 450k mastery points will carry me in those games.
Right, and I think that's like fine. I don't think that's particularly bad. I think sticking with those two is fine. I just don't think adding another champion is gonna help you at all.
No, probably not.
I think sticking to Nico as your secondary is probably the best. If I
Yeah,
were
cause
to keep Nico, because I see
yeah,
what you're saying with Lux being popular, right? Like I get that. I mean, there's a reason she's got a million skins, right?
yeah, she's got like literally like what
Yeah.
19 skins. I have 16 of them, so
Mm,
it's a lot. And I
let's
do have
see.
almost half a million mastery on
Right.
Nico, so like
I think the way we can do this now, because now you get the idea of what I'm talking about with what's important to look for. And then if you're in doubt about anything, okay, then we do the 1v1 stuff where I show you
okay,
the range and whatnot, right?
okay,
But I'm gonna go through what I look for with each of these champions in the mid lane. And if there's a champion that isn't listed under mid lane that you want me to explain, then we'll go to that afterwards, okay?
okay.
Okay, do you want them in alphabetical order or do you want them mastery wise? Because I don't care. I'm gonna get through them anyway.
It's all the same to me. Whatever you prefer.
Sure, I'll just keep it this way then, because that's how I prefer my champions. So, Cassiopeia is interesting because her Q is technically what you're supposed to look out for, but it's got a really small radius, right? So, while it is like long range ish, it's like Syndra Q range, for reference. Um, you have a somewhat easy time dodging it, especially if you have boots. With Cassio, if she does hit the Q, you just E in front of you and run away. Because then she can't run you down. You just slow her, and her movement speed doesn't matter, and she can't E you that many times.
Oh, that's smart.
So that's pretty easy, and that's why Lux is a struggle for me when I play Cassio. Um, so that's how you deal with her for the most part. Obviously, her W makes it so you can't flash, but that also requires her to be in like somewhat close range to you. And if
Yeah,
you're quick on your fingers, you can flash before the W hits the ground. So there's also that.
yeah, and I can just Q her and then E her, and she's not. I mean, she's pretty fast though, so it's not the
She's
easiest
pretty
thing.
fast later on, yeah. Early levels, she's not that bad, I don't think. For Lux specifically. For Nico, I don't
Yeah,
know. I
yeah.
struggle
For
into
Nico, it's a bit
Nico.
dicey.
I struggle
It's a skill
into.
matchup,
It's a skill matchup? Okay, that makes sense to
I
me,
would say.
because I struggle because I don't see Nico often enough to play into her, basically. But I
Yeah,
think with Nico, when she uses Qs, he's not that threatening, so yeah. As Seer, look out for his Q primarily. His soldiers do damage, but not in the early game. In the early game, he's a minion. Before Lost Chapter on level 7, he basically does nothing and you can abuse him all you want, basically.
do his soldiers work? I know they follow his auto attacks, but
I'll show you in practice tool.
I've
So,
played Azir maybe once in my life. Like,
I can understand why. He is
yeah.
also not a champion I would recommend to you ever.
Says the Azir man.
Well, yeah, but no, I mean it. I would not recommend this here to other people at all. Well, if you're like diamond, then sure, right? If you want to play a seer and you're diamond, cool. But I don't think I would recommend a seer to other people,
Yeah,
generally
he's really
speaking.
hard.
It takes a lot of
But he's
games
also like really
to.
rewarding, I feel like.
Oh yeah, 100%. I love it. It's great. Why is the game not capture not working? That's so weird. Whatever, I guess we'll deal with that. No, mine now works. Okay, cool. So
Because OBS likes to be a shit sometimes.
it does, yes. So let's go to the cursor. Bloop. Let's just, for reference sake, go to level 3 again and disable the minions, and we put a dummy down. Okay, so the way his soldiers work is this is the range for placing it. So it's not that long range to place, but you place it down. There you go. And then when you're in the range, you saw the little arrow thing here, right?
Yeah.
There's a little arrow. When you're within this arrow, your autos is replaced by this. But if you're outside of it, let's say there's an enemy over here, then this will not attack until I get in range to do it. So let's say I place it up here, but I go down here, I have to get in range to do it.
So it's like an Oriana ball. Basically, you have to be in range of it for it to do anything.
And if your target is out of range of it, your normal autos just take over, no matter how close you are to your soldier, because it's not within the range of the soldier itself.
That's interesting.
If I put this, see, if I put my soldier down but I'm too far away from it, then I will also auto attack the target instead. Once I get closer, I can use this.
If you're close to it, then it attacks, but you don't.
Exactly. So
that has to be so overwhelming for the
mental
stack. Oh my god.
If you look at the arrow here, you can see I can dash to it from like when the arrow's like out here-ish. So the whole idea with the seer is you basically do that, you auto a few times, you Q, and then you auto a couple more times.
And the Q is basically just an empowered auto for the soldiers, right?
No, it just replaces where they are. So if I put a soldier down, hold on, let me refresh my mana and whatnot here. Where is it?
You can spawn drakes now? That's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that.
You can do a lot of things in here. There we go, let's just go with this. So if I place a soldier here, here, and here, Q just does that.
Oh, it kind of makes them all go together.
Yes, and then it damages, but only from one soldier. So no matter how many soldiers I Q at the enemy, it only takes the damage it would take from a single one. You see?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But then, you know, the more soldiers that are there, the more soldiers are attacking you. But, I mean, you can also see it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. And his attack speed is not that high early, so it's like, yeah. You have a lot of time to get away. The main thing with this here is looking out for the cooldown on his Q, which is 14 seconds early, right? And you max a second, which means level 7, you're still taking points into your W. And so this is still 14 seconds until he gets Lost Chapter. And that's where he, like, actually does some damage with his soldiers, right? So before level 7, you just toss every poke at him ever. Force him out of lane. Don't let him be there, basically. Because if he gets Lost Chapter, like, you gotta punish him for trying to farm for Lost Chapter. That's basically what it is, right?
Yeah, it's basically like a fight for Lost Chapter in a way.
His E has a long cooldown too, but he's never using that unless he gets ganked, because then he's just like, oh, I'm getting ganked, alright, I'm out of here, you know?
Yeah, you're just vibing.
Yeah, so the E I wouldn't worry too much about. Just know that SC is really hard to gank. You're probably not gonna get much help, because he's just gonna, like, do whatever to get out, right? He can get over, like, most... So you can W, and then you can E to it, and mid-E you can, like, Q, but you have to time it well.
Oh, and then you follow the soldier.
Yes, exactly. So...
That's so cool.
Like that.
I didn't know you could do that.
And then, once you're level 6, it'll look like this, right? Then you can... Let's see if I can actually pull this off. This will be fun to show. So, put a dummy there. You can ult while you do it, but I need to time it well. I didn't do it correctly. But you can do a thing where you basically do this, and then you also... There you go, like that.
Oh, so that's what they mean when they say to shuffle.
That is the, like, really good shuffle, basically. The other one is that if you have it, like, here-ish, and you do that, and then you get them in there.
Oh, I see, I see.
So there's, like, two different ones. One you end up where the enemy ends up, and one you end up on the other side of the enemy, basically. And this is the easier one to pull off, right? Like, you know, it's...
Yeah, you're trying to, like, space from yourself, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if you push them in your tower, they pretty much die.
Yes, exactly. And knowing that he has a pocket tower as well, that scales off of his AP, right?
Yeah, it's pretty great.
It's really good. So this is what, like, most SCs will do, right? Including myself, because I'm not good enough to pull off the other one consistently. So, yeah.
I mean, hey, if it works,
it does.
It ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, at some point I'll have to learn the other one. I'll have to get consistent at that as well, right? But for now, I don't need it. My enemies make enough mistakes that if they walk up to a tower to farm, I can literally just, like, ult them in. So imagine that this enemy's hitting the tower, there's, like, some caster minions, right? I can do a thing where I dash through the caster minions. Or, well, let me try again. And then I can ult them in, and now there are no minions there, so now he just dies, right?
Oh yeah, true.
That's honestly how I get, like, 90% of my kills in lane.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. So, yeah, Asir is an interesting one. But honestly, pre-level 7, his soldiers doesn't do a whole lot. Don't get ulted under the tower with no minions. If he does ult you under the tower and you have minions there, don't hit him, and then the tower does nothing to you. Just walk out, you know?
Yeah, you just vibe.
Yeah, and then... I mean, just fight for Lost Chapter, basically. If you can hit the wave and him at the same time, that's great. The time that he's very vulnerable is when he walks up to place a soldier at the wave, right? Because he doesn't have that long of a range to do that. So that's why he's, like, his most vulnerable.
And all his damage is tied to the soldiers, so if he has no soldiers up, then it's not...
Yeah, he has 2 soldiers in the early game stacked. Like, they do stack. Let's put the, put this back again. So you see I have 2 charges of this, right? But it has a recharge timer of 8 seconds. So once I use both, like this, there's like 6 seconds before I can place another one, right?
Yeah, true. So that's his vulnerability window when you can't do much.
I mean, if he uses his Q, he can place 1 soldier, and in the early game it does nothing. Like, literally level 1, his auto attacks might even deal more damage than his soldier. But then his soldier gives him, like, that extra range to auto from further away, right? So, like that-ish, right? Compared to this.
Yeah, that's a lot longer.
It is. It's basically like, imagine you're playing Caitlyn or something, right?
Yeah, it's almost Lux range, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, Asir's a weird one, but you're also not gonna see him very often, so I wouldn't worry too much. Just worry about his Q, that's literally it. In the early game, his W does nothing. If he repositions them with Q, he's vulnerable because you just walk away from wherever he placed them. And now, what's he gonna do? Dash to it, and now he's vulnerable over here instead. You know, it's, you know. Yeah. So, I think that's pretty much it for Asir. Don't get ulted. Level 6, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't get ulted. Watch out for the minions and make sure to one-shot him back before he gets Lost Chapter.
Yep. You might not one-shot him, but you can at the very least probably force him back. Is the whole thing, right? Like, make it tough for him to get his Lost Chapter, because once he has it, he's a lot better at poking. Maybe not better than Lux poke, generally speaking, but he's even better than prior, you know?
I would say it's even.
I think so. Ish, because I think Luxie is generally easier to hit than Asir's Q, but yeah, I agree with that.
But Damn, I'm jealous of your 10,000 RP.
Oh, yeah.
How do you manage to not spend it? I would be so tempted all the time.
Uh, cause it's for Christmas.
Ah, I see, I see.
Let's see. Then we have Silas. I think the primary thing was Silas is watching out for his E. Basically, once he dashes once, be careful that he doesn't, like, dash on you afterwards,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
get murdered by that quite a lot in lane.
Honestly, the main way to play into Silas is just having the wave frozen by your tower. Because he doesn't really, like, he can't really break it that easily. And then if he tries, you can just use a single ability on, like, 3 of the minions, and then his attempt to unfreeze it is, like, pretty much gone, right? As
Yeah,
long
he
as you
doesn't want to
somewhat
be
match
under
his
tower.
damage. Yeah. Because he doesn't really want to dive you early in lane, right? He just wants to. He wants you to push the wave so that he has the lane to basically run you down, land his E, have a lot of space and all that. Especially if he's running Everfrost, then you really want to freeze. And then if he roams, you shove, right? I mean, that's more fundamental than Silas specific, but Silas specifically doesn't want to get frozen on.
Yeah, basically. I really need to learn how to freeze waves properly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how important it is in your elo. I have no idea. You'd have to ask Aldos about that. I can only explain what I hate when I play the champions, and I hate when people freeze against my Silas.
Good to know, yeah, that's fair.
Then for Annie, it's probably mostly looking after her passive, I guess. I honestly don't really know how to play well into Annie. I feel like she's annoying, but I guess
She's
you do
definitely
outrange her,
annoying.
right?
Yeah, because she can get her first strike off really easily nowadays with the E.
Yeah.
And she's just a pain because you think, oh, she doesn't have range, but then her autos are like
Yeah, her
million range.
autos are like 600, I think.
Yeah, it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's strange. I think with Annie, hmm, I don't really know. I think the primary thing is honestly trying to shove the wave so she can't roam. I think of Annie as kind of like an Ari, where if she gets some kills elsewhere, it's really good for her once she hits level 6, right? I think
Yeah,
that's how I would play against Annie. I thankfully don't see her very often, but that's my immediate thought process with her.
I just kind of try to like sit back and like not let her. I make her use her empowered ability
Yeah,
on the wave,
yeah,
and
that
then I trade
sounds
on
good.
her.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, and then watching out for her ult. Obviously, the ult is really scary.
Yeah. Ah, there's my least favorite champion in the game. Oh my god, you know how many times I've lost against Fizz?
Yeah,
Or come close to losing just because of that stupid ult? But running barrier really saves me against these kinds of champs like Echo, like
mm-hmm,
Fizz. Like,
mm-hmm.
I've been seeing a lot of Echo lately. Well, I
Against
don't know about you.
Fizz, pre level 3, you just abuse him for every last hit he goes for. Because before level 3, he can't do anything.
You can still like dodge
He can dodge your thing. Yeah, he can dodge one E, right? Maybe. Maybe he'll dodge your E, but you can auto attack him pretty freely until level 3. Once he hits level 3, I would say the most important thing is to look out for when he uses his E. If he uses it to clear the wave, then you have a window to punish him. And then staying out of his dash range on Q. Which, if you want me to show you his dash range, we can go and do that.
I think it's like similar to Yasuo Q, right?
I believe so, yeah. I think it's something like that.
From what I remember from like the 2 times I played Fizz in my life. Because I had a period where I thought, oh, he's OP, I should play him. And then I tried him and I sucked. And I was like, no.
Yeah, I think that's about right. It's been a while since I've played him. I will
Yeah,
be completely
good. You can
honest.
maintain my respect. I really don't like Fizz players like you. It's like,
um, I used to play him a lot because I don't remember what rank I was at the time, but I had a friend who was basically like, "You should play Fizz more. Every time you play him, I see you winning lane." I'm like, okay, I guess I'll play Fizz then. So I played Fizz for a bit, but I don't know. I got bored with it. I didn't enjoy it all that much.
I mean, that's fair. You're not an assassin player, really.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've tried some assassins, but they're not really my cup of tea. I've played a bit of Echo too when he came out. This is like mastery from like way back, like literally from season 5.
Oh my god, I always forget that you have been here longer than me.
I've been here for so long. I'm
Yeah.
ancient. I'm an ancient League player. Um, Oriana, I mean, we've talked about her ball. You know Oriana somewhat well, and I think if you don't, I
Yeah.
think like just reading it on MLS is probably the best bet you can go for. Same with Syndra, because I am not super good at either of these, so I would
Yeah,
just
Syndra's really annoying. I did watch like guides on how to
yeah.
play her when Curtis told me that I should try her, and I just
Mm-hmm.
didn't click with the champ, and then I didn't. But I think Echo and Katarina and Zed are definitely
Okay,
people I
so
struggle with sometimes, not always, depends.
Katarina, I'll show you in practice tool, because this champion, I don't know her from playing her, but I know a lot from playing against her. Because when I play Casio, I beat every single Katarina I see. And I can explain exactly how, but I'll do that in practice tool because she's like a bit hard to explain without visuals. So let's
Yeah.
just go through some of the other ones and we'll get back to Katarina. Echo, whenever he disappears into either side of the lane, like you know those little walls where you normally freeze the waves,
Yeah.
if he goes behind those, you need to step back a little bit because he's probably looking for a W on you. Obviously, ping him missing as you would do, but be wary. He might be trying to get you with his W. Because he
Yeah,
can,
that's
like,
fair.
cast his W from outside of that wall and in the middle of the lane ish.
Yeah, that's fair.
So there's that, and then kind of like with Silas, when he dashes once with his E, look out for the auto that gets him to you. If he plays Echo the wave shoving way where you just like shove the wave and with your Q and don't really do anything else and just look to roam, then you just try to counter shove him so he can't roam.
And what I see them do is they will just like E and then Q, and then I can't always predict that E, and then
Right.
they just jump on me, and then I Q them and I E them, but they stuck, and I kind of managed to maybe dodge the second part of the Q.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all I can do, right? Luckily, in my load, I'm not
Yes.
very good.
I think the main thing, 'cause you're playing Lux, right? If
Yeah.
he uses his first E, if you E him and slow him and then move backwards, then he can't dash onto you very easily, right?
Oh, that's smart. I
I
always
think
like,
I think abusing your slow is actually something to look for.
yeah, for sure, because I don't do it enough. I
Yeah.
always use it for damage and not for the slow, unless I'm like really like controlling a choke point or something like
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I think really thinking about the slow is something. At the very least, I'm spotting a pattern here.
Yeah, for sure.
Zed is kind of like Fizz. Pre-level 3, he's not the biggest threat ever. The
I
one
can actually kill a
thing...
decent amount of Zeds, but my problem with Zed actually comes from like, I think it's just like, I mean, I don't know, it depends. If they're good, they'll probably just poke me down and then
Okay,
roam. But even if I kill them, they'll just roam and kill my bot lane. So I
right.
think the main problem with these champions is how to prevent them from doing what they want in the side lane, right?
Okay, so the way I would think about that is put control wards in the put a control ward in the bottom pixel bush, because then you can always see if he's going down there, right?
Yeah.
And then if you see him commit to the roam, this is important. If he commits to the roam, you shove the wave. If he doesn't commit and he just like clears your ward and goes back to your lane, then you don't commit to shoving because then he's gonna return, right? What you need to look out for with Zed is that his Q does more damage to the first target it hits. So always just like try and stand behind minions when he uses his W or his Q, because
Oh,
he's
I
gonna
didn't
look for
actually
the
know that.
Q. Mm,
Interesting. I really did not know that it did less damage. So it's like a Caitlyn Q in that sense.
yes. I believe Caitlyn Q is the same. I am
Yeah.
unsure on that one.
I
But
actually learned that it
yes.
was a couple days ago, so.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm gonna trust you on that and say yes, it's Caitlyn Q. But way, way, way smaller.
Yeah. And more annoying.
Yes, because he can do multiple. Yeah, sure, we can go with that. Um, Zed is kind of like Fizz, where if you just like poke him before level 3, like force him to use as many potions as possible, and the more health you have when you're level 3, the less chance of him actually being able to kill you. I don't think Zed can actively one shot you level 3. I don't believe that's possible. And like I said, standing behind minions, trying to not necessarily dodge the shurikens, but at the very least be behind the minions so you don't take the full damage. That's also a thing. Being aware of where his shadow is after the fact, especially later on when he gets a few more points in and a little less cooldown on his stuff, then he can definitely E or Q twice from a shadow. So even if you dodge the initial Q, be wary of the shadow. Don't stand too close to it. Don't get E'd for free.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Did that all make sense so far?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Anivia, I think her Q is the most important thing to look out for.
Yeah,
Because
it's a pain in the butt.
Anivia is really annoying. I will admit that. But if she doesn't land her Q, she doesn't get the empowered E until level 6, where she gets more annoying. I will admit she probably will just shove and try and get good resets off. Be it objectives with her ult, or yeah, basically that. Um, I think just trying to avoid her Q and poking her down in the lane is probably the best. This is also one of those champs where I feel like jungle assistance is super helpful because she's immobile. So calling for your jungler to try and at least get her egg popped is a good idea. Obviously you
Yeah,
can't
probably.
control your jungler, right? Like you can't
Yeah.
like get them to be there. But pinging and like trying to like get the Anivia down early is pretty good.
I think what happens to me often is my junglers will come when I don't necessarily like, I don't really want them to, or they
Right.
come when I want them to, but I'm already like half HP and I kind of force ganks and then I die because I forced them, and
Mm.
that's really also bad because I'm always like I have to get kills, I have to do something, I have to at least like blow a summoner. I'm very like, I don't know, I'm always super pressured. And that's why I always say, oh,
Mm.
I should go back to support because then I don't feel so pressured. Like, even if I die for a play, my ADC maybe gets the kill, or I'm not important. But if I'm mid, like, I am super important. Like,
Mhm.
I played against the Yone, and I think the last 3 games of Lux I played, I literally died in lane to a Xerath twice and to a Yone twice just because
Mhm.
I overstepped in lane and I was over focusing like the level 6 and the ER and the
Yeah.
Q and wave and the reset. It's like so bad.
This is why I like playing with teleport, because if I get chunked before my lost chapter by a Nasir, I can TP back with whatever I could afford at the time. Then I might not
Yeah,
have the lost chapter into TP at level 5 or 6 or whatever, but at least I got there safely. I might be down
yeah,
a couple minions, but at the end of the day, that's fine. As long as I get to my lost chapter without dying, I am good. And I
yeah,
think,
exactly.
and this is why I'm so like baffled that TP isn't an option for Lux. Like,
Yeah, I think it is an option, but it's like, I forget exactly what Mysterious says.
okay,
But it's like they just recommend it, and even Curtis in his videos went it. And I was like, and it saved me against so many like Zeds. I think it's really good into like Zed or like
mm-hmm,
a Fizz or Assassins, right? But I don't
right.
think Barrier is that good into like mages because like they're
So
not gonna kill you.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I'm like a little bit like, I wonder if taking TP is actually the play into some of these champs that can shove fast, but I don't know. This is something I think you need to discuss with Alados, as someone who knows what they're talking about more than me. I
Yeah,
use
that's
TP because I like TP, but I'm also not playing an MLS champ, so I don't have a guide I have to follow.
yeah, true. I mean, I was addicted to TP as well before I switched to
Yeah.
barrier because of the guide. So I get you. It's a great spell.
Yeah. Lysandra, I think looking out for her having E and just staying out of her range. Like, she's pretty short ranged overall. Her W isn't that high of a range. I would say it's probably a Lux E around her, maybe slightly bigger. And then her Q, you need to be careful with a little bit, because when it hits the first target, it like splits out a little bit and it becomes a little slightly wider skill shot. But
Yeah, it's a bit annoying. She just like farms, pokes, and then kills you level 6, and there's really not much you can do if she clicks it on you.
I think the primary thing you need to do into Lysandra is not get hit by her initial Qs, because she doesn't do that much damage in a burst combo even with her ult. So I would say go for like, just be careful, space her Q, like try not to get hit by too many Qs. At least until you get Lost Chapters, then you can probably fight her. Like, and like, you can poke her as she goes for last hits, right? The more she's poked, the less likely she is to be able to go in on you. If you're really scared of Lysandra ulting you, freezing by your tower, kind of like Silas, like kind of like into Silas, is probably good. That's something I don't like when I play Lysandra.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I really need to learn the phrase. God, like I know how to do it on paper, but I can never do it.
Hmm. Yeah, but see, this is why a lot of games is needed, and this is why I think also your frustration will disappear once you have a lot of games. I think.
Maybe maybe it will, maybe it won't. Sometimes when I have a lot of games on things, it becomes kind of worse because then I'm like, I have this many games. I should know better. I should be better because I played Lux
Right.
support for years, right?
But support
So
is so different. That's the problem. And this
yeah,
is why I think this, what you're having right now, is the exact reason why Curtis doesn't recommend you play your champion in your off role.
yeah,
I think that's like one of the reasons. I think there are other reasons, the reference points being different and such, but I think I think this is also a reason. The mental, like, having to go from one type of playstyle to the other can be really tough if you're playing the same champion.
yeah. Because like on support, you don't have to think about farming, so you can
Right.
just poke,
Exactly. That's
and
why I
then
like
use
Seraphine
bushes.
there.
Yeah, but then in mid lane, Seraphine just does nothing. She
She doesn't
farms.
feel well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, actually, I was talking to Curtis about it, and he told me, when I mentioned farming, and he said, "Well, you never really learned how to farm because, I
Yeah.
mean, I think you might have heard it when he said like because you played Seraphine and she doesn't teach farming."
Yeah, she doesn't. And playing support also doesn't teach farming.
Yeah, that doesn't teach
So
farming at all.
it's, I had the exact same issue when I swapped from support. I couldn't farm. I had like 50 CS at 10 minutes. Because you can't farm. You're the support main. You'd never farmed in your life, you know?
Yeah, you're not supposed to touch minions. Like maybe you clear one wave in the game. That's about it.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe sometimes you set them up for your ADC, but Thresh can't do that. Because he does too much damage to set them up. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so do my champions. Like, I've literally stolen so much CS from my ADCs by trying to help them last hit with my like
Yeah.
Lux E or.
Yeah. Oh, I'm talking like auto attacks, because Thresh has like empowered autos with his
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
with his
true.
E passive, so it's like really weird to try to set up minions on the tower. Anyway, that's another thing altogether. But at the end of the day, I think, at least for me, when I had like 2 years worth of mid lane experiences, when I felt comfortable in the lane, I felt the same pressure you're doing right now. I felt this pressure of having to carry, having to be a carry, and having to have the mindset of a carry. I don't have that anymore, but I used to have it a lot, because you keep thinking to yourself, oh my god, I'm an important person now. Like, I need to actually be there and I need to help my
Yeah,
team without dying, because I am important to stay alive, basically.
yeah, and it's so hard because before I could just I can R flash into the entire enemy team on Nico.
Yeah.
Maybe I die, but my team has a strong mid laner, so they
Mhm.
mop them up. I
Yeah.
don't need to be alive. Whatever, it's fine. But now I'm that person who has to kill them, so I can't actually, I do that, but it doesn't. It's not the same, and I hate that pressure.
Yes, I understand that. And the thing is, the pressure is probably going to go away at some point. I can't tell you how long it'll take you because it requires you learning the fundamentals of mid lane. Once you learn the fundamentals of mid lane and how you should play it, then you can start thinking about other things and how to actually carry the game. I think currently you don't even need to think about carrying the game because you're not at that point yet. You're looking at your laning phase. You're looking at how am I trading into every champion? How am I doing this? How am I doing that? How am I playing the fundamentals of this lane? Does that make sense?
Yeah, true, true. Like, I guess I'm trying not to be, but I am kind of result focused a lot of the time where it's like I should be doing
Okay,
better and like
if you're results focused, because I know that feeling, I think here's what you need to focus on. Focus on your results of the lane itself. Don't focus on the game. The game is like whatever. But if you focus on, oh, look at this, I spaced this Lissandra perfectly, I didn't get hit by her Q, or maybe I got hit like once or whatever. I got hit not very much, right? That's great. That's a result that you can look at and say, okay, take note, I now know roughly the range of Lissandra Q compared to where I stand in the lane. Now I know a little bit more and I can win into Lissandra more often.
yeah, that's true. But then my toxic mindset is like, oh, I win that lane, like, and then like I won the lane into Yasuo today, and then I was like, I won that lane, I did so well, and I still lost the game. That's so like unfair, and
But
then it like
see, here's the
kills
thing.
me. I don't know.
But here's the thing. If you can consistently win over Yasuo, then you can also win more of those games. That
True.
means that
Yeah.
once you consistently beat Yasuo, then what? Then you can say, okay, well, in 30 of my games, let's just say 100 games into Yasuo, this is unrealistic probably, but let's just say you play 100 games into Yasuo, 30 of them, your teammates in both lanes, both other lanes lost, is whatever, junglers behind, whatever. Those are the games you can't win. Let's just put it that way. Then you have 30 games where your teammates are doing super well, your bot lane's winning, your 80, your I don't know, lethality Caitlyn has 30 kills and now they're just like winning the game. Okay. That's those 30 that is like free wins, right? And then you have those 40 games where you have the impact. If you consistently beat Yasuo in those 40 games, you're gonna win those 40 games.
Yeah, that's true.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it just feels like I've had very like weird periods where I have to count on my teammates to help me carry or like
Mm-hmm.
be there, because if they're not, then I can't really win it, because I'm just a nuke, right? But if I
Mm-hmm.
don't have anyone else to protect me, I'm a glass cannon, I get murdered. I kind of need my team to protect me, and if they don't, then it's doomed.
Why do you need your team to protect you when you're standing so far from the enemy?
That's true, yeah, but like if everyone else dies, then they come
Yeah, then you
after
run
me.
away. Then you
Yeah,
say,
if
screw my
yeah.
team and run away, I'm the queen here because I'm the mid laner. I'm the
Yeah,
main
I'm actually
character of this anime and I'm getting out of here.
true.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm running. There's 5 enemies. I am going. I'm leaving you. You know?
True.
And if
Yeah,
your
I
teammate runs in, like an idiot, let's say you have an Amumu on your team, right? That's just Amumu, right? He goes
yeah.
in, 1v5, you're like there. You're like close by. Okay, maybe you ult, maybe you E, and maybe you get 1Q while they're ulted by Amumu, okay? You pull your combo down, and then you go, because what more can you do? You can't do anything more. If you didn't one shot them, well, Amumu did a dumb fight. He went in and all the 5 people, and you were the only one there.
Yeah, true.
You know?
True. Yeah.
That's how
And
I
then
see it.
yeah, and then I run away, and then I'm like, "Oh my god, that was so dumb. I did what I could, but there's it's not
Yeah.
enough and we're probably gonna lose it, then and then
But you did
it's
what you could, and that's the whole point.
yeah,
You helped where you could, but you didn't overextend like the Amumu did. So you're better than the Amumu, you know?
yeah, true.
That's how I see it. If your teammate's gonna overextend and be dumb, don't be dumb with them.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
I think the best way that I've ever heard this phrased is it's a literal numbers game. If there is 5 people on their team, but you guys are only 4, if you're not far ahead, don't take the fight. If you're ever in doubt about a fight, don't take it. If you're not ready, all 5 people there, and they have a numbers advantage, don't fight. Even if your teammates could ping them off, if they don't go off, if they don't run away, it's not on you anymore. You did your best, you know.
Yeah, true.
And
Yeah, I have some games where they just go and take dumb fights, and or actually we take a fight and then we could win it, but the top laner is farming bot lane, and we didn't notice, and then we lose
yeah,
the fight because we didn't have that guy, right?
and that's the thing. You didn't have the man advantage. You were one guy was bot lane, right?
Yeah.
So that's where you need to be a bit more aware and be like, okay, well this guy is bot lane. We probably can't fight then. And here's a controversial opinion, and I know that this is gonna sound like somewhat counterintuitive because MLS and stuff, right? And don't blame other people. But at the end of the day, you can't blame yourself for a teammate's mistake. If your teammate made a mistake, that's on them. And you can't blame
Yeah.
yourself for whatever your teammates are doing. They're all bronze for a reason, you know?
True, true. Yeah.
And they're probably not like reviewing games and doing all this stuff, so you already have an edge on them on that front.
Yeah.
You're
It's
already
not
doing better than them just by following a process.
true. Yeah. And I always kind of go, oh, well, I did what I could, but
Mm-hmm.
I always think, oh, it's not enough. It's never enough because I like didn't dodge that skill shot. I got killed in lane there. I did this. And was
Mm-hmm.
there anything else I could have done? And sometimes the
Right.
simple answer is just don't die, or don't do that, or don't overextend.
But that's a laning thing, and that's what we're working on. That's what you can work on yourself, and that's why we're here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Laning is the fundamental part of League because it happens every single game. The mid and late game will at some point happen. But right now, we need to focus on consistently winning lane. If we're consistently winning lane, we can focus on how to carry over that lead into the mid and late game afterwards.
Yeah. True.
Okay. So I know it sounds really, really hard and very much against everything MLS is for, but honestly, blame your teammates when they make a mistake. Obviously, take responsibility for what you could have done, but you also need to see, okay, well, if my jungler goes in 1v5 and and we can't kill them because we're 2 people here, then that's not on you unless you also died because you didn't go away.
Yeah.
You know?
True. Yeah. Then I'll say, oh, I got baited, but I shouldn't have gone in.
Yeah, you should not have gone then. It's fine to say you got baited because that's also like a way of saying I shouldn't have been there, but realize that it's because you shouldn't have been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, you're right.
Okay, cool. So I know that sounds very harsh, right? And obviously this is probably not a mentality I would bring into the MLS Discord because I feel like that's a bit, it's
But
a bit controversial to say, but
like not everything you do in game is your fault. Like if you get
yeah,
ganked by your jungler and he forces the gank and dies under tower and you have no
yeah,
abilities left, it's not your fault.
exactly. You couldn't really do much. It's also probably too late to ping the guy off. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty hard. It's a tough situation, and there's probably not much you could have done differently, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried. Like, I literally had people gank
It's
me and
just
then go under tower and die. It's like,
yeah, it's just one of those. I mean, it happens. Whatever. Like, not my fault. Not my problem. Like, yeah, it's my problem because my laner now has like maybe a red buff, but
yeah.
like it's not my problem in the review. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he has like a million kills now, but it's
Well, I mean, you can just play save until the buff is gone, and then hopefully you can stabilize. But either way, that specific mistake was not on you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Ari then. Ari, you know quite well, right? So,
Yeah.
how much do we need to go over that? Don't get hit by her Q. Make her choose between the wave or you when it comes to her Q, because it's an AoE ability. And stay away from her charm. If she has her charm on cooldown, you can, you can abuse that. But you know all this.
Yeah.
And
Kind
then
of
we
more
know
or less. Yeah.
from Elena that Ari's ult is incredibly important to her, and she's pretty much a minion without it. So what
Yeah.
I'm gathering from that is abuse her pre-6, and then shove the wave as much as you can so she can't roam. But obviously try and stay safe if you don't know where the jungler is, you know?
Also, I'm dying. Like I opened my drawers to pull out some candy for myself, and my cat is like on my bed staring at me expectantly. And I'm like, no, you already got your treats. That's not for you, buddy.
Alright. We've been over Yasuo, Windwall, and third Q, right?
Yeah.
And then,
Then
or,
I
huh?
guess we still have Yone, and then
Yeah, we'll get to Yone later. He's way down the line here, because I don't play him.
yeah,
Um,
I don't blame you for not playing him. He's hard and annoying to face and play.
yeah, I just don't enjoy him. I have tried him a couple of games, but I just didn't like it. I don't know. Not my type of champion.
Yeah, same. I think my problem is that he's melee. I
Yeah,
can't play melee characters except the Rakan, kind of, if you count that as melee, and like
I
Rel.
count it as melee, but I see what you mean with the, like, slightly higher attack range, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only
I mean, it's
melee
the same as
character I like
Thresh.
is Silas, I think.
Yeah. But he
Yes,
also has like the dash, right? So he's like,
yeah, but I mean, Yon also technically has dashes, right? He's got his E
yeah.
and his third Q and whatnot. Anyway, then we have Asol, which is kind of strange because you just kind of have to, like, try and kill him as much as possible in the early game. He's also one of those champs, kind of like a Nivea, where getting ganks is great, but you can't really rely on your jungler to gank you. So, yeah, I would say try and poke him, especially if he stops to use his Q, then he's basically a sitting duck, right?
Yeah, then I just queue him.
Yeah, then you Q him, E him, you auto attack him, you do all that. Because he needs to be punished for even queuing in lane at all. Alright, Tristana, honestly, stay under your tower and stay far away from Tristana. Because she is a menace from level 2. Like, this Tristana will start with her E so that she can shove faster with her passive, which basically makes it so when she last hits a minion, the auto attack damage, some of it will go over to the minions next to it. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah, because it like
It's her,
explodes.
yeah, it's her E's passive. It's not with the bomb itself, it's with her, just the passive on her E does this.
Oh, I thought it was.
So the way her E works is her passive on the E is that when she last hits a minion, the damage from that goes to the minions next to it. Not like all the damage from the auto, but like a little bit of it.
Oh, I thought that was just like a general thing with her, right? With her
Well,
E.
it
Like
it
when she.
is. I mean, it kind of is. I can show that to you real quick. That one is like pretty easy to show. So we can do that with this. Where is Tristana? There she is. Runes or whatever. But we'll go in practice tool real quick and look at that. Have to remember to switch scenes to get the in-game footage. This is gonna be a long video, I feel like, but whatever.
It's gonna be good because we can always refer back to it, all of us.
Yeah, true. Let's see.
Maybe one day if you become an MS mentor, then you can, send it to everybody.
I think at that point I would make a new one because I would have a lot more knowledge, right?
Yeah, true, true.
But yeah, and I would probably make one where I would just, like, talk to the camera and, like, not have, not have other people here, but just,
Yeah, just yourself.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay. doing this so we have the minions here. So Tristana starts with her E. And then the passive is that when she last hits something, like if you see here, I'm gonna last hit this minion. The damage goes to these. I last hit this, I got both of them. Right? So she automatically pushes the wave. So Tristana's main weakness is that she can't freeze. Because this passive makes it impossible.
I thought it was her passive.
No.
But that's her E passive.
Her passive gives her longer range.
I didn't know that. I'm such a dinky.
So she takes W level 2 and then she jumps you and she just like bombs you basically and takes half your health.
Yeah, and then you just die. It's very
fun and
interactive.
It is it's a champion, let's put it that way. But see, the main weakness of her is you can't really do much. Like I basically only lasted at this except for one auto attack. But I can't really control the wave at all because of it. Her actual passive is that her auto attack range and the range of placing the bomb from E is higher, basically.
Yeah, but would it be like to poke her and then you could just like catch her and one tap her? Or is that like...
You can one tap her, but the problem is, and I don't know if I can show this, but basically you can buffer her W so that once the CC hits, you can still jump out. It's really weird and I can't explain to you how it works. I'd have to find a video of it happening.
Oh yeah, there's that thing where you can actually still jump while you're CC'd because of coding.
It's because you time it and there's like a certain time between you pressing the button and you actually jumping.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense. Also, her jump resets on kills or if the bomb explodes on you. So basically the way it would work is you...
Also, if the bomb explodes on you?
Yes. See here? Champion takedowns and max stacks explosive charge detonations on champions refreshes abilities cooldown. So if she tosses the bomb and she auto attacks you 4 times, which is pretty simple with her Q, we can show that with the dummy here. Put a dummy down. So the way it works is you jump in, you bomb them, you auto them a bit, and then you jump out.
I thought it was just on kills.
Nope, it's also on the E explosion.
Right. Fun.
Which is why Tristana is so dangerous. Because even if she dives and doesn't get the kill, technically she can still get out. Obviously, it's not easy, but you can get out. So...
Great Riot, great champ design, we love it.
I mean, jump resets on an ADC is just insane. I don't know why they made that. Like, that feels really... That feels broken on paper for me,
but... It's
like
Akshan E, right? It's the same garbage.
Akshani is a bit weird because I feel like it's, like, harder to control. At the very least, Akshani is, like, not easy to use, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
whereas this is just like you click and you go. And it also does damage when you land, like, and slows enemies. Like, oh, it does so much with a reset on it, like...
Yeah, you can dodge abilities, you can get out of bad situations, you can get into good situations.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's how Tristana works, and her ult also gets longer range over time. It's just like her auto attack range, her bomb range, like placing the bomb, and her ult all get this range increase when she levels up.
I thought it was just her auto attacks.
Nope.
Oh my god.
It is autos, placing the bomb on you, and her ult. Like, her point and click, like, throw you back thing.
Right.
Okay.
Amazing.
So that was Tristana.
Imagine, I've been playing this since 2018 and I didn't know that, and I used to like Tristana.
Well, I mean, I've played her quite a bit. So I think it's just because I play a lot of champs and I've played mid a lot, you know?
Yeah, I've messed with her a little bit in ADC, but not much.
Yeah. She's one of my go-to ADCs if I ever play ADC, like, in normal games or whatever. Her and Ashe are, like, my go-to.
Would you play her mid?
Oh, yeah, I play her mid on the team all the time. I play her into stuff like Azul and the Seer because I can just punish them and lane really easily. I actually went 6-0 into the last SU I played into.
Oh damn, that's
I
amazing.
completely dumpstered him, but we can talk about that after the recording. I'll show you the
Yeah,
game.
because you know Azir really well, so
Yeah,
you're really
I was
lucky.
like, I can just pick Tristana and completely like crap on this guy. And then
And you
I
did.
did, and yeah, it was great. They surrendered at 15 minutes,
Oh my
and I
god.
was 6-0 or something.
And that's what Tristana does. A very fun job.
Yeah,
When you're ahead.
she's really fun to play. She's basically an assassin when you get ahead, which is kind of fun, like as an AD carry, right? But yeah, anyway. Then we have Galio, and I think the main thing with him is looking out for his E. Because if he hits his E on you, then you're probably also gonna get taunted, queued, and autoed with his passive, right?
That's the punch, right?
Yeah, that's like the little punch on the ground thing with the little AoE thing on it. So an
Wait,
empowered
that's the
auto,
E. Oh.
basically. His E is like the little dash. He goes backwards a little and he dashes forward and knocks up anyone he hits.
Yeah, the weird thing.
Yeah.
I could never beat Galio. He's so weird for me. Like.
Yeah, I think looking at the MLS guides is probably better because I don't play Galio a whole lot, and I'll be honest, I don't really enjoy playing him either because I had a coach who was basically like, if you don't show up to practice with like 3 champs you want to play, I'm just gonna put you on Galio. And I'm like, God damn it, I got so sick of Galio.
That's pretty dumb.
It was really dumb.
Like the coach that tried to make me play Annie.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of coaches that'll tell you to play Annie because she's easy. And while I agree,
Play her support as well. He's like, just pick Annie in any role and you'll be fine. You can blind ball it, but no.
yeah, I don't know about that one. I think in support and mid you can probably get away with Annie in most cases. I think you can also get away with Annie for like like playing APC instead of an AD carry in the bot lane.
Oh god, imagine that. Like,
I think that can work. I don't know. I haven't really done it, but I guess you have a very high auto range, so maybe it's just fine to do. I don't know.
I mean, if Seraphine can do it.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like maybe that works. I don't know if I would pick any top though. Definitely not jungle.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. Then we have Twisted Fate. He's one of those champions I feel like you can just abuse in the early game. Like pre-6 he doesn't do a whole lot, I don't feel like. He I guess look out for his W. If he has his gold card up, don't walk close to him. Don't get stunned. Because then you're also gonna get tank his Q. His Q is a skill shot you'll have to get used to dodging because it's like 3, like weird. 1 straight ahead and 2 to the sides, right? Like 1 to each side. And it does like a fair amount of damage, right? Especially later on. So, but I would say if you can like really abuse this guy pre-6, then it's really good. And the way a lot of Twisted Fates will play is at level 5, close to level 6, they'll recall, get their power spike, and then go in lane, farm to 6, and then use their ult somewhere. And if you can somehow stop him from recalling around the level 5-6 mark, that's really good, because then you're basically delaying him from ulting and roaming.
Is there any way to stop him from ulting? Like,
so I don't know if Lux Q stops it. It might. Because basically if you Lux Q makes it so you can't move, right?
yeah.
And you can't flash or anything. So I would think it cancels the TF ult if timed correctly. Because I think I don't know if it does it cancel channels, do you know that? If Katarina ults, does Lux Q stop it?
Avados says no.
Okay, well in that case you wouldn't be stopping the channel, but I guess if he couldn't move, then I don't know if his ult will go through. That's one thing we'd have to look up, because I don't know enough about Lux to say that.
Yeah, speaking of teleports.
Right.
Does Lux Q stop, does Lux Q stop, like, a TP? How do I stop? Because I always see people trying to stop a TP, and I never know how to.
So a TP is definitely stopped by stuns and knockups and stuff like that. Hard CC will stop a TP. Taunts does it too because it moves the champion. Um, Knockbacks, pulls, like blitzcrank hook, thresh hook, stuff like that will definitely do it as well. The thing is, I don't know about roots and snares. I am unsure because
Yeah,
I
I don't know
know they
either.
like keep you in place. So my immediate thought is if you time it with the TP's like the end of the TP, right? Then I would assume it stops it because you were not able to move, right? But I don't know. This is something we would have to ask Alados about. He'd probably know, I think. But yeah, I
Yeah,
am unsure
I
on
don't
that
know
one.
honestly. I didn't like, because I just started thinking about it.
Yeah. Nicole would do it. I know that. Because that's a knock up, right? Followed
Yeah,
by a
that's stun.
stun. Yeah, so that one would definitely stop it. Um for like Asir can do it with his ult. Displacements will do it. So like Lee Sin ult, Tristana ult, Asir ult, stuff like that. Um I don't know about Tamkench ult. I assume if you stack your passive and like eat them, I assume they also get cancelled, but I'm unsure. That one's unclear because I feel like get not Galio, Snape, Tom Kench. He's like kind of a weird one, I think. I don't know what his CC is called. That's why I don't know if it cancels it or not. But yeah, we'll have to
Yeah,
ask
I have no
Alados for a
idea.
list.
I have to do some testing.
Yeah, testing or ask Alados see if he knows something something. We'll figure it out.
Such shows we have to be up at 9 a.m. tomorrow to watch the World's Finals.
Oh, how long time do you have left to be here?
2 hours?
2 hours?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we can probably make it through all of them, hopefully. All right. Kiana is an interesting case that I don't know if I can explain well enough. I would say the first rule is to not stand like close to a wall when she's past level 6. The second one is to probably just make sure she can't EU, which I believe is approximately the same range as the Fizz E or Yasuo Q. I think it might be slightly longer because if she
It's a.
can, huh?
I think it's bigger. I think it's slightly larger than Yasuo.
It might be, yeah. It might be. I don't remember exactly. But basically, if she can EU, she can use her QWQ on you and an auto attack probably. And that hurts a lot, but it doesn't one shot you until later. So there's at least that. Um, yeah. Try not to get poked by her Q. It's kind of like a Lissandra Q. I think it's slightly shorter than Lissandra Q. But yeah, don't get poked and, poke her pre level 3. It's really good. Because pre level 3, she can't dash to you. So yeah, there's that. I think that's about it for her. She's more of a scaling assassin than anything else. She doesn't one shot in lane that easily.
Yeah.
So
I think so. I mean, until she gets 6 and then you. Oh, then you die.
the thing with Kiana level 6, now this is not gonna be as applicable in your elo as in higher elo, but the way they use their ult is really important because their ult is really good in Dragon and Baron Pit. Like, extremely good, right? So if they use your ult, if they use ult, it's very important you ping it to your team. Because if they're a good Kiana, they'll like want to use their ult in the Dragon or Baron Pit, like whenever they're fighting for that.
Oh, true, because then it stuns everyone and their mom.
Yeah, because like it's the whole wall, like it's insanely strong right there. So yeah, everyone, the mom just imagining like, she stuns everybody in the game, and then also the player itself outside of the game is just sitting there like, oh, I got stunned, you
Yeah,
know?
that's basically how it is. I mean, you
Yeah,
are pretty much physically stunned
yeah,
by it because it's surprising as hell.
yeah, true. But yeah, so that I think is the big thing with Kiana is she doesn't actually want you to join lane, punish her pre 3, and stay away from walls later.
Yeah, she's scary.
Okay. Kassadin Well, we have a Kassadin expert here, so I don't want to say too
No,
much, but
indeed.
definitely abuse him pre-6.
Yeah, he's just.
Poke, 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 poke. Poke him out of lane.
Yeah, and then run away late game.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, late game he probably kills everybody. Like there if yeah. I don't know. Um Alados said that people overestimate his level 16 spike,
Hey, Paul.
but he is still really strong in the late game no matter what spike you're looking at, I think.
Yeah.
I would definitely still call him a late game champion. Okay. I think for more Kasdan info, I mean, ask Alados or refer to the guide on Curtis's channel.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. Then Akali. I think my primary thing against Akali is dodging her E, making sure I stand behind minions, and then spacing her Q. Because her Q is, I would say, Q and then the empowered auto she gets if she hits a champion is like the main thing. Or does she just get the empowered auto? She might just get the empowered auto. Hold on, let me look.
It gets the auto when. You have to look at her passive.
Yeah. Dealing spell damage to a champion creates a ring. Okay, so
So any spell
exiting
damage
the
that
ring.
you and Q.
It has to hit a champion though. Okay. Yeah, but there was the fact that it has to hit a champion is what I was looking for. So dodging her Q, or like spacing her Q, and then also like looking out for her E. And then her W is kind of like, okay. I think as Lux, her W is probably not the worst thing in the world to be against because you can just E the side of the shroud towards you. Like, and then she can't really walk there. Like if she's
Yeah.
trying to get to you, right? You just kind of like E in front of her, and then what
Yeah,
can she
you
do?
zone her off.
Yeah, basically. So I think for Lux specifically, I don't think the Akali Shroud is all that much of a problem. It's still annoying, but it's not the worst, right? Um, but then try not to walk too close to the Shroud, because then she can Q you. But spacing her Q again is probably what I would look for, and then don't get hit by her E, because then you can't space anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Corki is a crappy champion that you'll never see because he's not good enough. Don't
Yeah,
get
true.
don't get packaged, I guess. I don't know. Like he's so weak, I feel like until the late game that you just run over him in lane. He's pretty low range with his abilities other than his ult, so I guess look out for the big rockets from his ult. They hurt a bit more.
Yeah, just
I
a bit more.
I don't know. I don't see him enough, honestly, to really know. But his package is really powerful, so there is that. So, yeah, whenever he has his package, don't fight him, I guess, or try not to. And honestly, if he packages you in lane, then it's really good for your team, because then he doesn't have it for a dragon or a baron fight. So there's that. But he's really looking to recall to get his package and then just run to a Drake or a Baron and fight for that. Zone everybody off with a package, and otherwise they take tons of damage. So yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like you gotta be able to dodge his but
Yeah. But pre-level 6, this guy is worthless. He does absolutely nothing. I feel like this guy does less than Cassidy in pre-6. That's how little I think Corki does. Um
yeah, kinda, yeah.
Vigar is interesting. I guess don't get hit by his Q and W. And then whenever his cage is down, you have windows where he can't really stop you from doing anything. I feel like Vigar is probably just a matchup where you don't really get in range of him at all. I don't really know. For me, I just look out for his cage usage, and if he uses his cage, I have an opportunity to do things, because then he can't stop me. And his W is pretty easy to dodge, I feel like. His Q is a bit harder sometimes because it's somewhat long range, and even if he hits a minion, he can still hit you. But basically, not letting her get stacks from hitting you is important, and then punishing him for last hitting to get his passive stacks is also something. Because I assume you know how Vigar's passive works. Do you
Yeah,
know or no?
yeah. It's if you hit a champion or kill a minion, then you gain a stack.
Yeah, with your Q specifically hitting the minions, right, or killing minions with Q. And then if you hit
Pretty
enemies
annoying.
with Q and W, yeah, pretty annoying.
Oh, it's W as well.
I believe on champions this W does it too, but let's go and read real quick. Let's see, passive. Let's see, Vigar is the blah 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 blah. Striking an enemy champion with a spell or scoring a takedown grants Vigar permanently increased ability power. And then does this say some here as well? And then units killed by this bolt grant Vigar some ability power. Yeah, and then here, stacks of phenomenal evil reduces his
It only
cooldown.
reduces the cooldown of the W, but it
But
does
this one
still matter.
says striking an enemy champion with a spell, though. That would imply all of the damaging spells, I would
I think
think.
that's just wrong because I know the ult
I don't
doesn't.
think
The E
so.
probably doesn't.
I'm gonna go and look what it actually says in game, because the client thing is pretty bad. So I'm gonna go look through this one. We also have to get back to Katarina at some point. But we know that last hitting with Q is definitely a way to stack it. I know that much.
And hitting a champion, but I'm not sure about the W.
We'll take a look at it.
Which I should know because I've played Vigar before, but
But the thing is, they also changed his passive at one point, and I don't remember exactly what they changed it to. That's why I'm gonna go and look. So, Veigar's abilities grant him a stack of phenomenal evil when they strike an enemy champion. Takedowns grant an additional 5. Each stack gives 1 ability power. Okay, so let's go into lane and put a target dummy down. So, enemy dummy. We are going to do this, and we're going to level up to level 6 because I want to test everything here. Okay, so... Okay, so... Q gave me a stack. W gave me a stack. Alt gave me a stack. E...
Does all of them.
E...
Oh my god.
Gave me a stack.
Oh no, this makes it so much more stressful to play against him. I thought it was just Q, and I was like, I don't care if I get hit by W, but now I do.
A W also does a fair amount, like, that does a pretty hefty amount of damage if you keep getting hit by it.
Yeah, but it feels better knowing that you didn't give him a stack, but now I know I give him a stack, so it feels worse.
But you have to actually land the stun in order to get the stack from E. You can't just, like, cage somebody and then that's that. So at least you have that going for you. So, like, the stun has to land.
Yeah.
And then all of those give a stack. And there's no cooldown on getting the stacks either, which is also important to note. So no matter what he does...
I've been guilty of walking into the walls thinking, yeah, I can survive the stun. I didn't realize I was giving him anything in the process.
Yeah.
Okay, so we tested that, so that's good.
This is good. We're all learning something.
Yeah, I didn't know his E did it. I thought it was damaging spells specifically.
We've learned that Vigar's even more of an asshole than we thought.
Yeah, we thought, great, we're so happy.
Well, he is trying to be the most evil, like, guy, right?
True.
I think. Welcome to the chaos, Paul. We're learning champions.
Well, I thought I'd been talking to you for about 5 minutes, but it turns out I was muted, so...
I was about to say, why are you muted? But
I was accidentally muted, so there we go.
Let's go through Katarina while I'm doing practice tool stuff.
Yeah.
Alright. This is... Yeah, whatever. We'll go with TP just because... Alright. It doesn't really matter what summoner spell I take, to be honest, but... Or rune page, I guess, as well. Also, Paul, this call is being recorded just for your information, because we
Okay.
want all this information to be accessible later. Okay. So from what I know, Katarina will start either Longsword or they will start Dark Seal. I personally start Longsword, but I don't know what's technically the meta currently. But it doesn't matter too much for explaining the Champion's kit. So let's level up to level 3, and let's disable the minions, and we'll put a dummy down. Okay, so the first thing to know about Katarina is when she uses her Q, it always lands behind the first target. So if I place down multiple dummies here, let's just put all 3, and I Q here, waiting for my Q, it still lands the dagger behind the first target, even if the last target was this guy right here. So that's the first thing to note. Let me... where is it?
Well, the answer of which people take is going to blow your mind because it's neither of those.
So, still behind it, and then she can jump to them, right? So here's the whole thing with Katarina. When she puts a dagger on the ground, this gives you a zone, right? So she can jump here, she can jump here, and she can jump like in the middle. She can jump anywhere on the dagger. So basically what you have to think about when you're facing Katarina is, where is this located compared to you? You would have to stay like over here to not get hit, right?
Yeah, true.
So staying away from her daggers is the main thing. And how do you know where her daggers land? Well, we already looked at that. You can see wherever she uses her Q from. She can also jump onto enemies. So her whole thing would be to essentially do this, jump on the enemy, grab the dagger, and then get the reset on the E, and then do it again. And she gets more damage for dashing onto the enemy itself. So that's the basic thing with Katarina, is make sure to never be next to her daggers. And if you are gonna be there, you need to know exactly why you're doing it. Why are you standing next to a dagger? Probably to bait her in case of a jungle gank, right? If, let's say a jungler's coming from here, your jungler's here, you're up here somewhere, and she dashes in, right? If you try and bait her to go into the dagger, like, if the dagger was there, right? Let's just say, like, it's in the wave somewhere. If you're standing, like, here, it's to bait her to go in so your jungler can walk in and do something, right? Another thing to look out for is that her E cooldown by default is 14 seconds, but picking up the dagger only reduces it by 10.92. I saw it now. It's on the E passive down there, right? Picking up a dagger will reduce this ability's cooldown by 10.92. So you do have like 3 seconds to like punish her, but that's a very short window. What you really need to pay attention to is if she misplaces her E. Oops, wrong button. If she does this, right? Now, I did it so that my cooldowns refresh, but then you would have 14 seconds to punish her for not picking up a dagger, unless she then later picks up a dagger. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's basically all about watching whether she picks them up or not.
Yep. It's all about looking at these daggers and staying away from them as much as you possibly can. And
most chosen item is Doran's Shield, just to blow your mind.
Doran's Shield? Oh, that's interesting. That
40% shield, 30% dark seal, and only 12% take blade. And
I almost never see her with Doran's, I swear.
I think Doran's Shield gets more like prevalent the higher up in elo you get, probably.
I'd imagine most low people probably just go with,
Yeah, because I would imagine like in low elo dark seal is probably the most, like, because it's a snowball item, right? So I would assume that Katarina's just like, oh, I'm gonna kill everyone on the map, so I'm just gonna get dark seal. Okay, that makes sense to me. Then let me give myself some more XP here, and we'll look at her ult as well. So, her ult attacks the 3 nearest enemies, right? So, the way Katarina will typically play, we're gonna put another dummy down just to demonstrate her ult real quick. Oh, I have to actually stand here. See, it hits the 3 closest targets, not the 4th one. Okay, now that we know that, how does Katarina want to play a fight? She wants to E to an enemy, and W underneath herself and then alt. So EW alt, and then she wants to Q, and then she can follow the enemy, whoever is running away. So that's how Katarina will play a fight, typically. And typically what will happen is her team has already whittled down the enemies, and she just jumps in and cleans up everything.
Yeah, and then everybody dies.
Yeah, and then everybody dies, now Katarina's fit. But that doesn't happen in lane. That happens in fights later. So, also, hey Jaster, I didn't notice you there.
Hello.
Chester.
So...
Welcome to Midlane School, version 2.0.
Yeah,
Midlane Outlaw School.
I'm doing my best to explain champion kits to Typhoon, and then whoever wants to join can join in and listen. But yeah, that's basically how Katarina works. Be careful with her daggers. In lane, she's actually not too scary. I guess she can try to poke you with this, right? But then if you know how she works, she can't poke you. So yeah, I would basically just say avoid her daggers at all costs unless you're baiting for a jungler. But also be careful with trusting your jungler in bronze, you know?
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you?
Okay,
Sorry.
unless the jungler's fault, because you actually know what you're doing.
Never play.
I don't count as the bronze jungler, I'm just trapped here.
Yeah, exactly. No, you count as a smart bronze jungler, there's a difference.
Yeah, I know.
I would call you a Salto jungler because those are different. They're different than bronze junglers. Salto members actually, like, try and know things.
I've made my choice.
And they try to win.
Yeah, they don't just tilt and go AFK when...
Oh yeah, definitely not. I think that's one thing you have going for you, at least for the most part, for both, like, MLS, Salto, and probably also, like, Cupcake's program. People don't just AFK for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the first thing we all get taught and ingrained into us, no matter what question people ask.
Yeah.
It's nearly always, what did you tilt? And then eventually you realise that's actually the most important thing.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
fools hesitate.
But yeah, I think that explains everything about Katarina. She's obviously roam heavy. She wants to go bot lane and get a double kill as quickly as possible. Probably when she hits 6. How do you prevent that? You shove, and you poke her because she doesn't do enough damage to poke you back if you dodge the daggers. If you know where her daggers are, and, like, you know, you aren't next to it, what can she do? Nothing, right? And you can just, like, poke her for free. If she goes in, like, let's say she has a dagger here, right? And you think she's gonna jump to it. A lot of Katarinas will just jump to daggers without thinking. If she jumps to her dagger, you could at the very least auto her no problem if you're standing, like, here, right? You're way out of range of her dagger and you can auto her. I think just looking for that, or looking for an E, looking for any poke on the Katarina is perfect. Especially pre-level 6.
Yeah, because she's vulnerable, but then, like, if
Yeah.
you use it to E, then you can't really stop her from jumping on you, so it's a double-edged sword, honestly. She's tricky.
But that's the thing, like, she still has the 3 seconds before she can jump again. Now, I'm a bit leveled now, so it's like 2 point something seconds, right? But you do have a little bit of time to, like, walk away, and I mean, yeah, I guess her E range is kind of long.
Yeah, I used to ban her, actually, but then I almost never saw her, so I stopped banning her.
But see, that's also a double-edged sword, because if you're banning her constantly, why do you think you're not seeing her?
Yeah, but now I'm not banning her anymore, and I almost never see her, so I'm...
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah. She's also a really hard champion to pilot, so I doubt a lot of bronze players play her. I mean, I know the basics, right, but I don't really play her that much.
Honestly, a couple of months ago, I used to see her a bunch, but now I don't anymore.
Interesting. But yeah, avoid her daggers, and then poke her as much as you can. That is Katarina. And she takes an essay to explain. She's basically the Aphelios of mid lane. Except not as many words, but still many words.
It's a shorter essay, slightly shorter.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, why am I waiting for stats for this?
I was about
What
to
is
say.
this? Wait, I didn't even notice. I was like, what is that? Okay. So we've been through those. We've been through Vigard. Now it's 6. Okay, so 6 just got changed a little bit, where his Q is now a bit wider. But then I believe they also nerfed him already a little bit. So that's at least good. 6 is gonna shove the wave for the most part and try to get your tower as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
He
I
takes
lose
towers
lane him
quick,
very
right?
often.
I think Lux might be able to outshove him, at least in the early game. So I think you can abuse him at least pre-Lost Chapter. I see him a lot like a Seal when it comes to it. Pretty long range, and then you can poke him, right? I guess looking out for if he uses his W. That would probably be the main thing, because it's the longest cooldown he has, and it's his escape tool. I'm gonna call it an escape tool. It's really hard to actually escape with it, but yeah. He can like bounce himself away, basically. So, yeah, that one's a bit tough. I think you can just artillery mage him better than he can. But I guess watch out for the Qs. And then Talia, I would probably have to go into practice tool to explain her, because she's
She's confused.
She's a lot.
Really hard to dodge.
Yeah. She is a confusing one. Where is she? There she is. Okay. Okay, let me swap scene again. This is gonna be a long video. Okay. Am I recording the game? Yes. Cool.
I'm gonna jump into some norms, guys, if anyone wants to join.
Alright.
Go ahead.
I'll go into a different chat though, so I don't...
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Right. I'll see you in a bit.
See ya.
Good luck.
Okay. So, Talia.
Yeah, I would go normal, but this is teaching me way more than I know about most
Yeah,
players.
like, it really is, right? That's the power of someone who's even slightly higher ranked than us. It's just the knowledge that we do not have.
Well, I didn't want to comment on the number on the collection screen.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay, so the way her Q works is she has 2 different ones, and she can move with one of them, and she like tosses five rocks out, right? And then if she stands on worked ground, which is where she's already been, she can take a giant boulder and toss it and unwork the ground. So her whole thing is like walking around like this, tossing rocks at you, and then slowly whittling you down. And then her E looks like that. And if you dash in it, you get stunned and the boulders crack.
I used to actually think that her Q, the worked Q, that
Yes.
you wanted to be out of worked ground to cast more damage, but then I learned that apparently worked Q is better than unworked Q.
So it used to be different. Her old Q used to have, like, you had this, right? And then when you were here, you would toss like a really, really small boulder, but it wouldn't unwork the ground. It would just be like a tiny boulder that cost 1 mana to cast. And it was really, really bad, and you should never do it. So every Talia was all like, oh, let me work the ground over here, and then, oh, I have to walk exactly like here and work the ground here, and then I have to walk exactly in between and work the ground. And like, it was just a really awkward playstyle to play.
But that's why, because I played her back then,
Yeah.
right?
So now then they would walk like over here, and then you would walk like over here. You would do the same. You would walk like right in between here. It's like...
She was released the exact time I played in 2016.
Oh, interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was really like weird. It was basically like making Heimer turrets areas here. Like, this is basically how Heimer places his turrets, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
It's usually
so...
a triangle shape.
But then now she does that, right? So now she can do like a big one and unwork the ground, which makes her way less awkward to play. But then, so what happens with her E and W is that she will E, Oops, that was the wrong button. Great. Let's see.
Turn on the reset.
Refresh cooldown. So
It's never good to
your
run
E and then
from
your W. And because it displaces them, they took damage from all the rocks that you just saw them take damage from. It would be the same if another teammate did something, like if god damn it, wrong button again. If I did this and Thresh flayed this person into it, then it would be the same, right? They would also take the damage from those rocks because they were displaced within it.
I'm gonna psychic scream people into that if I can.
Psychic Scream?
Briar's thing that does a huge knockback.
Ah, alright.
the earth calls,
Yep,
and I must
that would be
answer.
good.
Does it count as scenery? No, it's her other wall that does.
Let me move
I
this
assume that
target
rock
dummy.
doesn't. I'm assuming
Which one?
the one that's lots of bumps in the ground, that doesn't count as scenery. I mean, like a wall, does it? No.
Her alt or
No, the other one that you did.
this?
That one, yeah.
This
that's
is not
just
a
ground.
wall.
That's
That's
just
not a
ground,
wall.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. That's not a wall. Let me level up a bit more.
No, I'm just thinking. I was just because a fully
This is a wall.
Fully charged psychic stream stuns everyone, throws them backwards, and then does damage if they hit a wall. So you could do your E and then a ult, and then I can smash them into both. Great fun. Anyway, sorry, that's just my brain being stupid.
That might be I don't know. I don't think with the E it would work, but with my alt it would definitely work. Also, she can recast all them and surf on
Time
it.
for a clean slate.
That's all I remembered from her release in 2016. The one that could surf on stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Serving on rocks. Whee! And you can also reactivate her ult to remove the wall.
More from this stone. This is
Unless you're on it, then you can't, like, undo the wall, but yeah. So, Talia E you have to watch out for, and then be ready to dodge your W, basically.
maybe you should go over there.
I would say that's pretty much it. I mean, her Q is, like, somewhat easy to dodge, especially if there's minions in the lane, right? Like,
Sometimes
yeah.
rocks could give pep
Stand
talks.
behind the minions and be careful with her EW combo. Her W has this range, and then she can choose which direction you go in, so you go this way, you can go this way, you can go whichever way, right? You can go sideways, all that, right? And then her E has a longer range, but yeah. If she does that, she'd have to
My
move a bit.
journey is not yet at an end.
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all for her then. But yeah, I needed to show like the ground stuff because explaining it without visuals is like kind of not great. Okay. Skip waiting for stats. This is so weird. Okay, so let's move on to
Who is next?
Zoe. Okay, so with Zoe, watching out for her E is probably the biggest thing. If you stand behind minions, you're somewhat safe, especially pre-6, right? And she's also somewhat easy to poke, because her Q is extremely telegraphed. If she walks backwards with her Q and then starts walking forward, you know exactly what she's doing, and you can just E her.
Oh, true.
So,
That's true.
yeah, I think with that, just E her for damage. You don't need the slow necessarily, because if there's minions there that she's going for, it's pretty obvious what she's doing. So, just timing your E with her Q is pretty good. And then trying your best to stay behind minions to not get sleeped. And then after level 6, well, watching out where she's going with her little going back and forth thing, right? Yeah. And then be ready to basically move behind minions every time. Like, if she ults to one side, you walk to the other side so she can't E you. Does that make, like, behind the minions, right? Always a minion between you and Zoe.
Yeah, I would not have thought about going to the other side of her ult. That's smart.
Yeah, and then also remember that the bubble goes through walls and it extends the range. So
Yeah,
if
it's a
she,
pain in the butt.
one thing Zoe will do, do you remember what I said with Echo, where they like go behind the freeze line wall and they will like try things?
Yeah.
Zoe's
So
one of those champs. Keep an eye on where she's going and stay on the other side.
yeah, I watch Eric Dota a lot, and he's a Zoe main, so I
Mm-hmm.
get to watch him play as Zoe
Yeah.
a lot, and she's really fun. I wish I could pick her up, but she's so damn hard.
She's really hard to play. I think even in higher elo, I don't think I would really recommend her a lot. Um, but I guess again, she's like an Asir kind of champion where in low elo they kind of don't work that well. She's a poke champion, right? And her whole thing is that if she doesn't poke people down, she doesn't do anything. She doesn't really one shot very well. Maybe in the late game she might be able to one shot, but not definitely not in the early game.
Yeah, definitely not. Like,
Yeah.
but she's really fun, you know. Like, I can't even play her in Wild Rift. Now imagine on PC, it's even worse.
Mm. I don't know how Wild Rift works. I'll be honest. I don't play it, so I don't know it.
The same way with wonkier controls.
Okay.
Basically, well, different items as well, but gameplay wise, yeah.
Alright, fair enough, fair enough. And then we have Malzahar, who is kind of interesting in the sense that
Pain in the butt.
he's different from most champions in that what you have to look out for is if the space aids is spreading to you, basically. And there is a range on that, but I don't know how to find the range indicator, basically. So that's something you just have to get a feel for. Like where can I stand compared to the minions to not get the E bounced on me, basically. And then killing his minions, his little tiny dudes, can be really good because then they do damage to the target that he put his E on. So the more damage he can do to that minion, the more likely it is to spread because the E itself in the early game doesn't do a whole lot of damage. He's also one of those Lost Chapter champions who just they want Lost Chapter before doing anything. So punish him as much as you can. Also, auto attacks will break his passive spell shield. So go for an auto first and then do your combo. Did that all make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Cool. I don't think there is much more to Malzahar. I mean, don't get an ult range of him. If he flash ults you, there's not much you can do probably. But I mean, then he doesn't have flash and for 5 minutes, and then you have to make sure your team knows he doesn't have flash. Be sure to ping it.
Yeah, because he's basically sitting duck without it.
Yeah. And flash on Malzahar is extremely important for flash ulting, right? So, yeah.
He's just so difficult to like deal with later in the game because you can't one shot him. He has that stupid shield.
Yeah, but the shield dies to an auto attack. That's the thing. Like, it's a spell shield, but you can auto it away. So,
Oh yeah, true.
so if you just walk up, auto him once, and then you can start poking him again. You can also proc it with Ludens. I think Lux runs Ludens, right? Do you run Ludens? Typhoon? Typhoon?
Yeah.
Do
Sorry, I
you...
was talking to mom.
Do you run Ludens on Lux?
Yeah. I do.
The
Because,
Ludens proc that jumps from it also procs the shield.
Oh, you're right. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's also something to look for. Obviously, that's inconsistent as hell, right? But it is something that works as well. If you're just trying to clear the wave, you might also pop his shield. Irelia is really annoying. I would say, like, play the way you would play into Silas. Don't shove too fast. Now, Irelia clears the wave easier than Silas. I'm aware of that. But trying to freeze is probably your best bet into Irelia, making sure she can't dive you, staying as safe as possible. You might lose in CS to her. Odds are you probably will, because her Q, like, it's very easy to last it with Q with Irelia, right? So I think as long as you dodge her E, you're somewhat fine. But if you just don't want to deal with Irelia, just be by your tower, stay safe. Like, Irelia is annoying as hell. I don't know what to say about her other than that, right? Her early game feels really bad, at least in my opinion. So yeah. And then also looking out for if she has stacked her passive. If she has a stacked passive, she's definitely looking to trade for you. And her passive she can get 5 stacks, and she gets them by either autoing or by queuing minions to last hit them. So watch out for the 5 stacks. It's basically Darius, except she's not stacking on you, she's stacking on minions. And then she wants to go on you once she has 5 stacks. You can E reactively when she queues a minion. If you see a low minion, Eing under that minion and just letting it sit there, meaning when she jumps in, she's gonna have to take the damage or she's not gonna have the minion. That's a way you can poke Irelia if you want to. But that takes some getting used to, and you're not gonna see many Irelias, I don't think.
Yeah, probably not. The last time I saw one was a couple months ago.
Yeah, so that's gonna be tough. I think if you need more info on Irelia, ask Dees from MLS. I mean, he's an Irelia main, right? So I would just ask him. Then for Rise, his early game is atrocious. So punish this guy as much as you can, and then his ult, I honestly don't know much about it. I think your binding works. I think, but I'm unsure. This is one where you'd have to ask Alados.
Say it does.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure if he is held in place in any way, he can't get away with ult. Including Sonya's, he can't Sonya's and ult away anymore.
Oh, really? When did
Yeah.
they remove that?
That's a good question, but I know they removed it. I don't remember when.
Then you learn. I thought he could do it.
He can't do that anymore.
That's good.
One thing I forgot to mention about Anivia is she can TP, and then even if she's in egg form, the TP will complete. Well, I mean, unless you kill the egg, right?
That's the frogging thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, Rise early game really weak. Then we have Jace. His early game is really strong, and he pokes well. The main important thing is to dodge his QE combo, so the huge Q that he lands through his E, right? Dodging that is the most important thing, so stay behind minions as much as you can, and try to stay somewhat far away from him because he can jump you in melee form too. However, his jump range is not that high, so I would say you're pretty much safe if you just stand behind minions at all times. He can't 100 to 0 you very easily. So, yeah.
Can it splash around the minions or does it just stop?
So it is an AoE ability. Like, it'll hit, like, let's say he aims at the 3 melee minions, right? It'll hit all 3 of them, but that's it. But I mean, it is a ball, that's why it hits all 3, right?
Yeah, but it won't, like, splash beyond those targets, right?
Correct.
It won't, like,
correct.
Go further, like a Lissandra Q or something.
Correct. It stops at the first minion hit, and then it just hits, like, the minions in that area. Vladimir's a scaling champion, and you just have to abuse him as much as you can early. If you force his W, that's when you have to, like, try and call your jungler there. But again, relying on junglers in low elo is not always the best, but it is a thing you can do. And knowing the fact that it's an option is good, because that means you can call for assistance, and then if your jungler knows why you want assistance, they can, go there if they have the time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, punish this guy as much as you can, because in the early game he's really weak. Vex, I don't know a whole lot about, but I know that playing around her passive is something they look to do, so whenever she doesn't have her fear up, it's easier to trade with her.
Yeah, she's like all about the empowered E, and then into Q, and then trying to snipe you with ult as soon as
Yeah.
she gets it, and then you die. Like,
The one thing I would say about Vex is if you E the minion wave and then Q it, you get some of the stacks back for your passive, which means that you have less time until your next fear, right?
oh right, that's true. I used to actually think I would be a Vex one trick.
Mhm.
I played her a bit, but then you know me and me being me, that
Yeah,
changed.
yeah. Yeah.
I like how just saying you know me it is the perfect
I
explanation
know
to
what
give
you
you our
mean.
context.
You and switching champions, yeah.
Yep.
I've become a bit of a meme.
It has been. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
It,
Like it has. I literally I think I said it in the MLS the other day.
Yeah, you said it. I've become a bit of a meme, and it's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
if you like, if you ever get annoyed by it, please let me know. I don't
Oh
want
no,
you to
no.
feel
I
like,
make fun of myself a lot. I should be called Switch Flame or some shit. That just sounds wrong to be honest.
that yeah, I did, but that's, I guess, okay. All right. But yeah, Vex with the fear, and then also like her Q is pretty long range, but it actually, the way the skill shot works is at first it's wider and then it becomes like less wide but faster at the end. So watch out for that, I guess. We've talked about Nico with her Q and how when she doesn't have her Q, she doesn't do a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, she's all
So
about the Q nowadays.
yeah, so that was that. I guess her W can be kind of annoying, but I would just like go away from her whenever she Ws because you don't really know what's what most of the time. But I mean, you know Nico probably way better than I do, so
Yeah, Nico is my child.
yeah, exactly. Talon, you need to be really careful level 2. This guy can potentially one-shot you level 2 if he's good. I think that if you can stay away from his dash range, which is, I believe, his Q, then you're somewhat safe. Because if he can't land his passive on you, which requires him to hit you 3 times, then you don't get the bleed from his passive, which is what does a lot of the damage. So the way he does it is he'll Q in on you and then use his W, which is the skill shot that goes out like in a triangle and goes back to him. It does damage on the way out and on the way back. On the way,
I guess 3 stacks, right?
yes, he gets 1 stack for the first one when he goes out. That one's pretty much unavoidable, so don't worry about that. Worry about it when it comes back, because that one you can dodge somewhat easily in lane. Always try to dodge the second part of W. It's like, imagine a Swainy. It doesn't matter if it goes one way, but the other way, get out of the way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
That's
And
actually a really good analogy to it.
and then don't get in range of his dash. Which I don't remember the range, because I haven't seen a Talon in absolute ages. But if you stand behind your minions, you're fine. And then, I mean, you can poke him as much as you want level 1. Because level 1, he is a minion. Just dodge his Q. Not Q, the W. The second part of the W, I should say.
Yeah, it's mostly annoying to try to stop his roams.
Yes.
Also, one time I poked him out a lot, and then I think I hit him, and then he ulted me and went invisible as he does.
Yes.
Then I died because I mispredicted, like, you know, when he kind of like whooshes out of that invisibility onto you. I mispredicted that, and I died to that.
Huh. Okay, so I think what I would do in that scenario is just E underneath yourself.
Yeah.
That way he's at least slowed when he is there, and then you can maybe land a Q on him. You might not prevent him from killing you necessarily, but maybe you delay him enough that he dies to the tower, potentially.
Yeah, maybe. With barrier especially. Like,
yeah. I think barrier into Talon is really good. But, yeah. Then we have Victor. That is probably one of the most annoying champs in mid lane for me. Him and Serath
Yeah.
are super annoying. So from my understanding, Victor's a lane bully, and all he wants to do is try to laser you to death. So Lux has the advantage that she's really high range. I would say use that range advantage, and yeah, basically, if he uses his E and misses it, then you can punish him for it. His Q is also really annoying. They will probably start Q level 1. That's at least what the MLS people do from what I've seen. So I assume that's part of the guide, which you can look into. But the Q is basically a point and click damage thing that gives him a shield, and then he gets an empowered auto afterwards.
That
And
is annoying as hell because
yeah,
I can't really dodge it.
that's the thing. You can't really dodge it other than like don't be in range of it in the first place. But that's really tough level 1, right? Because you also need to hit the wave to do your thing. Yeah, I think as long as you dodge his laser, you're somewhat fine. But Victor's really annoying, and I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it.
Yeah, I hate him because of the W.
Oh, the
Because if you
W.
step into it, you get stunned. Yeah, because I died plenty of times to it as a support, trying to like save
Oh.
my teammates or something, and then I would walk into the W and then get stunned and get lasered and murdered, and it was not fun, and I hated my life.
Oh, well, in that case, I guess also watch out for him using his stun, I suppose. There is like a thing where you have a little bit of time to actually get out of it. But it's timed based on the ability, not based on how long you've been inside the ability. So the way it works is he puts it down, and at first it just slows, and then after a while it'll stun, right?
Oh, so it has to like prime itself like a Caitlyn trap?
It primes itself, but it's like not as long time as a Caitlyn trap, I don't think. But yeah, you have a little bit of time to get out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Serath is, yeah, I don't know. I guess dodging his Q is probably the main thing, but I don't know. I think it's really annoying.
Yeah,
Though,
he like mentally aroused me. I think I had a rage episode against Zerath. Was it the day before yesterday, Bass, or something? When I was screaming about Zerath? I think it was just I was like not farming at all because I had to focus on dodging his Q. And then when I, managed to and I was like, oh, I'm about to back, I can just one shot the wave. I kind of overstayed, I greeted because I really wanted at level 6 and then I did his stupid ultimate. I hate that champion, I wish I could permaban it, but he's
yeah.
not that common, so I don't want to, but at the same time, God.
Yeah, I see him more than I probably should, which is why I started permabanning him.
Yeah, I thought I would be fine into him, right, being a ranged mage as he is, right?
Yeah.
But no.
So I think one thing you can think about is how do you want him to use his Q? Because for the most part, I think they want to clear the wave with Q. That's at least my understanding. So if you are standing to the side of the wave, it's kind of like Ari actually, where the Q is like a damaging spell that he either needs to use on the minions or on you. And then he has his E, which for him is a stun and for Ari is a charm, right?
Oh, true, it's very similar.
So it's you can kind of draw parallels, except he's slightly longer range. So I
And
guess
like
if that
2
helps you a little
screens away
bit,
longer
then
range.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, his ult can be somewhat annoying to dodge. I find that one to be the easiest part of his kit to dodge, but yeah, some people
Yeah,
struggle with that one.
it's kind of like because you're already so poked out from the Qs, then
Yeah.
one ult is enough to kill you, I feel like.
It should also get mentioned that they recently reworked his ult a little bit. They changed it so that you have 4, 5, 6 shots with his ult, I believe it is.
Yeah,
And
that's why
then
it's even more painful.
if he hits a champion, the next one does slightly more damage. And that is all the times that he hits, so that'll stack up, basically. The more he hits you, the more he hurts. In a row, if he hits you in a row, that is.
That's why I died to that thing. I thought that would be
Yes.
fine, but
But that is new, so I don't blame people for not knowing that part.
yeah, I forgot about it, to be honest. I was reading those patch notes because I do play Xerath support on and off, like
Mhm.
very rarely in normals and shit. So I kind of want to know, but I guess I forgot.
Yeah. But yeah, I think thinking of him as a longer range Ari is probably the way to go. But how you punish Xerath is beyond me because I don't understand it.
I don't. The only way is to one shot him, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And then we have Yone. Kind of like Yasuo, we talked about the whole, like, thinking about the cooldown of the third Q. Now, let me look up Yone's cooldowns real quick, because I don't remember his cooldowns. Yone cooldowns. Okay. Let's look. So let's see. His Q has, where's the cooldown? Static cooldown. Okay, so it starts at 4 seconds and it reduces based on attack speed. So it's 12 seconds, just like Yasuo Tornado. For the tornado part itself, right? And we talked about how the other two Qs aren't really all that great. It's kind of the same here with Yone, right? Don't get hit by them. It's basically Yasuo Q.
Yeah, I got hit by like 5 of them almost in a row today. It was painful.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't get hit at all. It really depends on the Yona days.
Yeah, but I think just standing a bit further back will probably help with that. And again, the more you master Lux, the more you can think about all of these things, right? That's why we're recording this, because then you can always go back and look, and I think a lot of people can go back and look, right? Yeah. But and then there's also his E. Yone's E is like, he dashes forward, right? Does his thing. He applies a mark on you if he hits you, and then he goes back and you take damage based on the mark, right?
Oh,
Based
so
on how
you
much
do take
damage he did.
based on the mark. Okay, so Bass, you were right today when you said that I died to the mark.
Yeah. So when he goes back, he does a percentage of the damage he dealt to you while you had the mark, and then he goes back and you take that damage. The percentage of whatever it was, right? I don't remember the exact percentage, but I have the page open so I can look it up. Let's see. Dashes, blah, blah, blah. Where is it? Dashes back. And detonating the mark on each champion to deal true damage equal to the amount stored against each of them. And after he goes back, he cleanses himself, which is interesting. If they were applied during his spirit form, I don't know exactly what this is like, but you know what I'm saying. Like, if he got stunned while being dashed forward, that is cleansed when he goes back. Does that make sense?
The
Yeah, I
left
think
behind
it does.
body rather than the spirit. Is that right?
Hmm?
Yeah.
That's why it's better to attack the body left behind than it is to attack the spirit.
You can't attack the body he leaves behind.
Can't you? Okay.
No, but you can
You
go
can
in
when he comes
position to
back.
attack him when he returns.
Right, yeah, no, I just knew there was something about Eli or whatever her name is, specifically about how to fight Yone with her, but
Right, so the way you do it is either you keep him in the spirit form. For instance, if I W him as Cassio, he can't dash back even if the timer ends. And if he's stunned, he also can't dash back until that ends as well. So if I can W him, do a bunch of damage, and then ult him, or ult him alternatively, and then like do the W stuff, then he can't go back to his original place before either he dies or is really low. So that's a way to do it. Like, just keep him there with CC, or you wait and you get in position to kill him when he goes back to where he was.
okay.
So that's also a thing you can think about when you're playing Lux. You can just E where he was, and then when he goes back, you detonate your E, and then he takes the damage.
Usually what I've been doing is I just queue his spirit when he dashes, like for
Yes.
me, right? I Q it and then I eat the spirit as well. But I should probably go for the body.
That depends. Depends where you're standing in the lane, right? If you have the option to go for the body, then he's forced to take the damage. But at the same time, if you slow him down and when he's like trying to get in your face, then you're also kind of safe. So I think either way is actually good.
And that's fair because I don't know. I gotta do both because I freak.
I think if it works for you to do what you're doing there, I think that's what you should be doing. Don't overload your mental stack with trying to go for the body when he goes back if that doesn't help. If he can't get in your face, then he can't mark you anyway. He can't do damage to you. That's perfectly acceptable in my mind.
Fair.
Then it doesn't matter if he gets damage or not. The fact that you have a slow on him, that's again one where the slow feels important. Remember? Because if you slow him, he's gonna have a harder time to get to you. So
And
yeah.
I detonated way too quickly. I'm so used to just going EE immediately.
Right. And that's something I heard somewhere. I don't remember where it was, that the difference between a not so great Lux and a great Lux is how long the E is placed on the ground depending on the situation. Situational awareness around your E is something that you can always be better at.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, then we have LeBlanc. This used to be my permaban. Fun fact.
God, I hate LeBlanc too.
So the main thing with LeBlanc is her W dashes her forward, and if she presses it again, she goes back. Right?
Yeah.
So she goes forward, she goes backwards. But you can see where she's going back to. So it's kind of like with Yone, where you can like kind of position yourself to be able to hit where she goes back to. So the only thing with LeBlanc is she doesn't have to go back. She can stay wherever she is. Or she can go back. Which is what makes LeBlanc slightly trickier. But one thing you can do is line up your Q with her, both of her W's, like where she's going and where she is and where she was, you know? So no matter if she like presses her W to go back, or if she stays, she's still gonna get hit by your Q because it's in line with both of her, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way.
That's one way to get a somewhat surefied Q on her if you have the position to do so. But the problem with that is if she chains you, she's gonna do a lot of damage too. So what LeBlanc wants to do is she wants to jump in, Q you, chain you, and jump back out. Or she'll Q you, W in to proc the Q, and then E you and try to Q you again. That'll probably be a bit later when she's got some cooldown reduction, but that's what she's looking to.
Like, I don't... The problem is it's so hard to predict the second chain when she has the ult, right? She covers her chain and then she hits it no matter what you do, because you dodge to the left and she hits it to the right. Well,
yeah, I see what you're saying with that actually. But then if you only get hit by one of the chains, at least you take less damage, and then she doesn't have ult for a bit. I think her ult has a 30-second cooldown, something like that ish. So there's at least that to work with. And then her W has a somewhat significant cooldown as well. Another weakness of LeBlanc is that her wave clear is kind of reliant on her W. So if she doesn't use W on the wave, then she's kind of screwed when it comes to wave management. She can't really push. So at least you have that. If she uses W to get a trade on you, she's not clearing the wave really easily. Meaning you could just clear the wave and get a free reset, because now she can't push.
yeah, that's true. It's just difficult because she's so mobile. She can do everything at once, I feel like.
Yeah, her wave clear is the only thing that is lacking a bit, I would say. Then we have... Huh?
No, she doesn't have that bullshit item anymore.
Static shift?
Yeah.
Yeah, true. I think there's still people that build it on her, but it's definitely not as OP as it was. And then we have Pantheon, stay far away. If he can jump you, you're probably dead. Pantheon's early game's insanely strong. I think this one's probably one where the MLS guide is better than whatever I can tell you, because I don't have much experience playing Pantheon. I just know how annoying he is to be against. So, yeah, I would recommend watching the MLS guide on him, just like how he plays and stuff.
Yeah, I think that would be actually really good.
Yeah. And then we have Akshan, who, oh god, he's basically Tristana, but like, I believe he doesn't take, does he take Boomerang? Or like, does he take his E level 2? I don't actually know. But he's not nearly as in your face as Tristana is, at least. Tristana is very much jump in on top of you and just like try and kill you, right? Akshan, at least, you know, he's at least standing somewhat like further away so you can react to him a little bit easier, I think. But yeah, dodging his Q is important. Whenever the Q hits a target, it continues to go. So basically, watch out for him queuing a whole wave and then hitting you in the process. Also, his passive is kind of overpowered. It's extremely bizarre. Basically, if he kites like a normal AD carry, he gets movement speed. But if he hits something twice, or if he autos an enemy champion that doesn't kite, then he gets a shield instead. Which is ridiculous. Why is he getting so much for no reason?
But he gets a shield?
So, let me show you in practice tool how Akshan gets a shield. Yeah, because he does.
I did not know he got a shield.
Akshan is weird. That's
He is.
all I
Never
can
should
tell
have
you.
existed, if you ask me.
Shield over, no. And then there's the whole weird stealth resurrection things.
Oh, yeah. How do you have passive resurrection in this game? I don't understand.
And you get camouflage whilst you go and get the people that caused the
Yeah,
It
it's
should be on support, like Soraka or something. That would make sense.
honestly,
But on this
yeah. I would like it on someone like Soraka. That'd be cool.
It's weird. It's like he plays like an ADC in mid lane, and then when someone else dies, he suddenly becomes Evelyn until he kills them, and then suddenly it's
That's
just
true.
like,
Yeah, it
Maybe
is
you
kind
should
of
play him then.
strange.
There you go. You could play a pseudo Evelyn.
yeah.
Okay, so let's just take Q level 1. So, his Q, if I just toss it like this, somewhat like a Sivir Q-ish, maybe slightly less range than that. But then if I go here, and it hits, then it extends a bit, right? So, it's like that. And it applies 2 stacks of his passive, which is a 3-hit passive that then deals damage. And there's the shield.
Oh, that's where the shield comes in.
Yes. Boop. There we go.
That's very fair. Thank
So,
you, Riot.
if I do it like that, I get movement speed. If I do it like that,
He was
I get...
designed by the same person that designed Seraphine.
Hmm?
He was,
Yeah.
when she said thank you, Riot, I said it was designed by the same designer who did Seraphine.
Ah,
Okay, well, thank you for Seraphine. Not thank you for this.
right.
And Aatrox.
But see, so his whole thing is that when he kites like an AD carry, he gains movement speed. And then he gets a shield at the 3rd hit.
Makes sense.
And then, let's see... If you stand still and you don't kite, you just fire an extra bolt. That's faster. And it also looks like this shield doesn't have a cooldown. Wait, no, that's because I have this. Wait, that's because I have this, right? That must be it.
And
Hold
it's
on.
because you're firing 2 shots, so the 3rd shot comes up faster.
Okay, yeah, so the passive does have a cooldown. No, it's because I had this turned on, the auto refresh cooldowns. But, okay, so that makes sense.
Every single hit.
Then we level up a bit. And I'm gonna see if I can at the very least do this somewhat fine. Yeah, so you can also get the shield like that if you hit a champion. And then this is kind of a strange one, because you have to be, like, let's say I'm out here and I'm tossing my E out. I'm gonna stop. Wait, what? Okay, so I went past the champion. Okay, interesting. Trying to, like, aim it so that I hit the champion. There you go. So when I hit the champion, I stop. But if I'm standing too far away, I just go around it and I shoot, and I'm over here now. So Akshan's E is strange, but
That
something to look out
reminds me of
for.
the guy. Remember the guy that Curtis did a whole video on with Nathan? Who was stacking gold 4 as an auction main?
I don't remember, to be
Like
honest.
4,000
Oh,
games.
I know the one.
I've
Yeah.
got quite a few tricks up my cape.
Where he thought he was like the best player in the world and he was missing E's all the time and stuff.
Oh, I see. I believe there is something here. So I'm trying to remember what exactly it is. There's something about a
Does he have a
powerful attack
passive?
from this. First cast, he fires his hook. Second cast, he swings around. And third cast, he fires a final shot. Right. So you can cast it once, do that. You can cast it again, and then at the third one, you get the powerful. God
You
damn
have to
it.
use it 3 times.
Yeah. So first one is that. Second is this. Third is that.
You have to actually press it 3 times. That's
Yes. Press, press, press.
okay. That's really annoying.
It's as fun as it looks.
By into and ass.
Yep. But it takes some getting used to, and then there's this,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, it makes sense because you're firing the rope, then you're picking a direction, then you're leaping off the rope.
Yes, exactly. And this you can continue as long as you stick next to a wall,
I don't get to see
which
the
is
surprise.
really strange. Like, there's a little white circle around you here that shows you when it'll run out, so you just have to get near a wall before that runs out.
Did not know that was indefinite stealth as long as you're near a wall.
It is, until you do
It's-
something else.
And it's camouflage, not
Some
stealth.
people just
It's
want
camouflage,
to
yeah.
live their lives.
Come on.
If someone gets close to you, they'll see you, kind of like with Twitch.
No,
But
it's the I think he's the yeah, because I know it's camouflage because everyone said it's Evelyn stealth. So,
yeah, then you
so
just
basically
like,
you'll only see him on a control ward.
yeah.
That's fair, I guess.
And then I do want to show you something kind of funny that you can do, which, I mean, it's not really necessary for anything, but you can permanently swing like this.
I mean, that's fun. You can just vibe.
It doesn't
so,
do anything,
if you go
but
if you go to the wolves, that's where all the Afk botters go. So you could that's a perfect circle. You can hook into the back wall there, and then spiral around and slowly kill the wolves, and then just go Afk, and the game doesn't flag you.
that's hilarious. I did not know about this, though.
So if you ever go into a game and you've got an Akshan jungler, that's what they're intending to do.
Oh my god, okay.
But I've never seen that. How do you know that?
Because I'm leveling an out account and I have seen it too many times.
Oh,
This is so strange. Like, what?
just dodge those games then, or?
Well, I think in future I will. Now that I've seen it 2 or 3 times, I'm just like, right, okay. So this is exactly. If you ever see an action with smite, then just dodge.
Right. So he's just gonna sit here forever? Is he ever gonna kill the
Yeah.
big wolf?
He will eventually kill the wolf,
Okay.
but because he's moving, the game doesn't flag him as Afk.
Oh. That is so weird. Does he not run out of health doing this? I guess not.
No, because if you've got a jungle pet, the jungle pet will heal you as you go.
Oh my god, I see. Okay, I didn't think about that.
Because the jungle pets heal you for a fraction of the damage that they deal.
I see. Yeah, so I guess if I just like pop a potion to emulate it, then yeah. Oh my
It's
god.
so dumb. I can't believe you're really lazy. You're like, oh my god.
I think it's I will admit I think it's
It's
funny
very
that this
creative way
yeah
of doing fuck all.
it's okay, so now he's killed. No, not yet.
And the wolf
One
never
more.
leashes because he's always back inside the circle soon enough.
Yeah. So what happens now? Like, is the AFK Akshan just like not?
No, just carries on swirling
Okay, that's
till
funny.
the game is over.
I believe you can also, like, if you go close enough to the tower. No, maybe not. No, you can't do it on the tower. Dang it. But yeah, so Akshan's E is really fun to use, but
It's as fun as it looks.
yep, I agree, Akshan. It's as fun as it looks. Alright. So that's Akshan. He's weird and he does things, but Yeah. I can't explain him much better, sadly, because
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
I'm not good at Akshan. I don't know a whole lot about him, and I don't see him very often. But he's really good early game. He's basically respect him as much as Tristana, but he can't go on top of you as easily as Tristana. God damn it! Why is this waiting for stats thing? I'm so used to it in my games that I didn't even notice it there. Okay, then we have Fury left. Refer to the MLS guide, because I don't know this champion yet. I don't see her at all.
Or ask Annabelle.
I
don't
treat
see her at all either.
Yeah, ask Annabelle.
I treat her
Right.
like I treat Katarina, but her ult is just better.
Yeah, the way I see her is like, I don't even know. I just see her as I guess kind of an Akali, because the E is similar. She like
Okay.
walks onto you and leaps, and then you have to
That's
stop
fair.
the leap.
That's fair.
I don't know. That's how I learned it when I was playing
Hmm.
Ari into it, and it works. I think
Okay.
actually Neferi is not a very good champion because she draft.
Because
Maybe
of
that's just me facing bad ones. I don't know.
because of what, sorry?
I mean, she's pretty strong if you know how to play her.
I think her
Her
level
age is-
6 spike is really strong, but
Yeah, but before that,
I don't really know about like pre-6 Neferi. I don't know. I haven't seen her enough, but first strike Neferi seems like the best build for her. But yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know enough to really say anything, so yeah, we'll go with Ask Annabelle and / refer to the MLS guide. And then just
Also,
to
for Akshan, as someone who's played Akshan, the things I find useful to remember about him is his Q extends like a Nico E, and his ult has the same range as Kate's ult.
Oh, good to know. I did not know that. And it can be blocked by towers, right? That's how it
Can
works.
be blocked by towers, but
Yeah.
if he's doing it at Kate ult range, you will not have the advantage of probably being able to position behind a tower.
Okay, maybe not. I don't know.
The farther away he's doing it from, the harder it is to get to dodge it.
Yeah, because angles are like that. Yeah.
And I believe you can ult in an E, right? You can E mid ult as
can ult-
Akshan.
I don't know. You can't ult. Ult is a channel. You can't do anything while ulting.
No, I think you can. I remember because when I read the guide, there was quite a surprisingly large amount you could do during it.
I think I've seen Akshan's ult with the E somehow, and I want to figure it out. Hold on, I'm going back with Akshan here. I'm curious now, because I'm pretty sure I've seen them ult and E at the same time somehow, but I need to figure out how that's done now.
It might be after the bullets start firing. I think you can ult. You can E ult once the bullets start firing. But while
Ooh.
it's target locking, you have to not.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm gonna go figure it out.
Akshan study.
Okay. So that, and
I know
dummy,
what you're feeling.
and
It's regret.
You can use your E during your ult to change the angle.
okay, so if I ult him,
According to the action mains group.
yeah, so I could do this. If I was better at using his E. I wonder if he can also like, yeah, he can also shoot them while he swings. Can he also swing and then ult? Yeah. Okay. So you can also
But then you
apparently
stop swinging, right?
maybe we'll see.
I think yeah.
Nope. I mean, at some point you
It's
stop
only 'cause you hit the
swinging.
wall, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It's as fun as it looks.
Yeah, I'm just not good at Akshan.
Go to the wolves and try ulting.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. Good point. That
Here's the trick.
alright, so we put a dummy like here and then we do the wolf trick. stand here. E, E, and then oh. Oh, okay, so that dummy is just in the wrong spot. Okay. Good job, me. Put it there instead.
Alright, because you can't ult the wolf, can you?
No, you can't ult the wolf, I don't think, but
You could if so you could hit the wolf with the ult if you had a target.
oh yeah, but
It's not a valid target for the ult.
yeah, you can't like target it, but you can hit it.
Yeah.
But
You
yeah.
keep swinging. That's fair. I guess it makes sense.
Oh, this is so much fun though.
It is, because you just sit there and you vibe.
I might go
Oh my
into
God,
practice tool
Right,
sometime.
I'm just looking at videos.
Oh,
And someone made an invincible minion block the entirety of his ult because they teleported onto the minion as he started casting.
Oh my god.
Because obviously, with all those shots, you'd expect to mow through the minions and hit whatever's at the back.
Yeah.
But because someone started teleporting onto one of the minion never went down and the whole ult was wasted.
That's so funny.
that's actually painful.
Oh my god. Okay, I need to not be distracted by this. So, okay.
But it is fun.
I'm gonna exit this
I mean,
before I get
Does that mean you
distracted.
could effectively protect yourself by teleporting into the minion in front of you?
I think you might.
Yeah, but why would you do that?
So that you
To
don't
not
to the ult?
die from McShonald. That yeah, probably. That would probably work, but I can't confirm.
No.
Okay, let me very quickly go over some unconventional mid laners, because I know a few that I also play sometimes. Malphite's level 1 is really strong because his Q, but he also wastes a ton of mana if he Qs you. So he's gonna time his poke with Arcane Comet most of the time, and just Q you whenever Arcane Comet is off cooldown. Annoying, but you can't do much other than just like punish him for existing, basically. If you're AP, he's easier to punish, so yeah, I mean, abuse him pre-6. He's basically either an assassin or a tank, right? But he gets most of his power from his ult. The rest of his kit is not really all that strong.
Yeah, he's kind of just a hunk of rock.
Yeah, that's true. Rumble is really strong early, but if he doesn't get ahead, he doesn't do a whole lot except for his ult. So yeah, his ult is the most powerful thing in team fights, I think. And generally, the problem with Rumble and why he wants to be ahead is because his Q requires him to face his enemy, meaning he has to basically run into them in order to deal damage. So yeah, I would say just be careful with this guy in the early game, stay out of range of him, and definitely don't get hit by the Q. The Q does a lot of damage very quickly, so yeah. Also, when he's overheated, he can't use abilities, he silences himself, but if he has an extra E charge, he can use it. If he has just one E and then silences himself, he gets the second E charge and he can still fire that. But other than that, he can't use abilities, and then you could just like punish him as much as you want. Let's see. What else have I seen mid lane? I've seen the occasional cannon, but I honestly don't know enough about him to say anything.
Yeah, he's almost never there.
Yeah, he's just never in the game ever. I don't see him. And then, what else do we see? Through most of these, I guess Diana. We haven't spoken about Diana mid. The Q is the main thing. If you dodge the Q, then she can't get the E reset. But again, MLS guides. I believe Fox has played a bunch of Diana too. Talk to Fox about Diana.
I used for like 30 games. I didn't play her for long though.
Yeah. What else is here? I know there is some down here. Lucian is like Tristana. Be careful.
By the way, if you want to talk about unconventional weird ass
Who?
midlaners. Briar.
Oh, I don't know enough about Briar to speak about it. To be honest, I can't. I don't know it.
Sorry, what was the question?
Briar mid lane.
Briar mid. It's a thing, apparently, like I've seen it once.
So, obviously, if you head towards a tower, she's fucked. But so she should be holding her E because it's the only thing that can stop her dying once she's W'd or R'd.
It's a scream, right?
Yeah. So Psychic Scream gives her a lot of armor, but it's also the only way of aborting her auto target. So generally speaking, they won't use it. If they have used it, you've got like 12-ish, I can't remember, seconds where there's no chance she's going to use W or R on you. So basically, if E is down, you've pretty much got free reign to poke away or do whatever you want.
Because they don't like dare go in when they don't.
No,
know
so
the way.
even if they leap on you with a Q to reduce your armor, they've got nothing to follow up with because they can't safely use W or R if their E's not up.
Mm.
Because they would just.
So the way to do it probably is if enough people go all in, you're almost forced to use your E because E does an absolutely massive amount of armor and magic resist while it's up. So you use it to both knock back the people trying to kill you and to stop them killing you whilst you're charging it, because the armor and magic resist apply the second you start charging it, and you can charge it and it will continue to charge even if you're stunned or CC'd. So basically, as long as you start the scream, you're deemed safe, basically. So as soon as it's looking risky, people will use their E.
So I guess freezing into
and then
Briar
once their
is
E is
probably
down,
good.
they're not going to all in on you because they can't safely, because they can't abort.
Then I guess freezing the wave into Briar is probably the best thing, because she can't really break the freeze that easily, can she?
No, you also can't risk it because you can't W onto the minions because it prefers champions.
Right, so basically, yeah, freeze the wave into Briar, I think, is the optimal strategy
you
from
want to
hearing
stay
what
as
you
close
say.
to your tower as
Yeah,
possible
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
just too damn risky, basically.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Then we have Lucian, who is just basically Tristana, but like, it's easier for Tristana to do a lot of damage than it is for Lucian. But Lucian also does quite a hefty amount of damage in the early game. Because his passive, basically, every time he uses an ability, he gets a double auto attack on you. So he'll E in double auto, Q double auto. That's his trade. And it's a lot of damage. And he'll also probably go press the attack to have an even better trade. Be careful with Lucian level 2, but just, stay far away from him like Tristana and you'll be fine.
Yeah, it's basically just a range game again.
Yeah. And then what else do we have? Kaiser mid, I think, is mostly about staying out of range of the Q, and then I guess her W, like dodge W, stay behind minions for that one. Yeah, I don't see her that often anymore, but there you go, I guess.
Which, thank God, that was annoying.
Seraphine, we've... Yeah, well, Vel'Koz will get to. Seraphine, I would think just, like, avoid the double Q damage, right? I think that would pretty much be it.
There's not much that she does. She just sits
Yeah.
there and...
That's the thing, she just kind of is there vibing and scaling, so you should just be able to, like, poke her, I think.
And obviously you've played her enough that I would imagine the reverse muscle memory will kick in for you. That's how it tends to work with me. If I've played a champion enough, I almost don't have to consciously think about how to play into them because my brain just goes.
For me as well, depending on the champ. If I've played him enough, like...
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
Like, Vel'Koz is my biggest mental block because he countered Nico for all of my life, and as a support, he always outranged me. And it was like the worst possible. I think he's easier to deal with mid lane because he has to hit the Q, and that's harder because he minions around him. But
if you dodge his Q, you can dodge pretty much everything else, because the Q is the slow that allows him to land his E, which allows him to land his double W, which allows him to ult.
Yeah, which is pain.
It's a pain in the butt, but if you dodge the Q, you're fine. What you need to figure out is, how do I explain this? Vel'Koz will, in his animation when he casts his Q, wherever he casts the first line of his Q, right, he will face that way. So if you know where he's facing, and you know the approximate range, and you also know where he can activated again so that it goes out to the sides. Now, it goes out to the sides, meaning that it can also hit minions when it goes to the side like that, right? So if you stand again triangular behind the minions this time, it's a weird way to explain it, right? But
Yeah, there's geometry to it.
exactly, but it's kind of like if he's facing towards the Butt River-ish from his tower, then you know that you can stand behind your minions, between your minions and the Butt River, because then where's his Q gonna go? It's gonna go to Narnia then.
Yeah, true.
So
There's
it's
no
kind
way
of a
he's-
triangulation game, but it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it exists.
It's weird. It's hard to explain, but I don't know if I can even like demonstrate it properly, so it's like, yeah, kind of weird one. Brand I don't see as often anymore, but the whole thing with him is if you get hit by all three of his basic abilities or three abilities in general, including his ult, then he gets his passive, which is extra damage over time. So burn damage basically.
Yeah, they're pushing him to jungle now, aren't they? I think pretty much.
Yeah, they've been pushing the jungle stuff as well. So I don't really know where he plays currently, but
Mostly support. Like when I see him, it's mostly still support. But
yeah, I think if you dodge his Q, you're pretty fine. I would think, because then if he doesn't get the stun on you, it's really hard to land the W. So, yeah. I would say dodging his Q is probably the most important part. I guess we can talk about Karma. I mean, empowered Q. If she ults and Qs, that does a lot of damage, so I guess stay behind minions for her. She's surprisingly tanky, so I don't think you can just kill her, but I think you can get a pretty free farming lane into Karma. Generally speaking, just play as safe as you can, right? Heimer is kind of a whatever champion. He just kind of shoves the wave in because you're ranged. You don't care about his turrets all that much.
I kind of always lose the lane to him, to be honest, because if
Really?
he out farms me, I can't farm, and then he out me, and I get my mental stack absolutely ruined by his turrets and his abilities, and
okay.
and I die.
Well, I guess one thing you can do is you can like E the wave and the turrets at the same time. So if you see like 3 minions are low and there's also a turret, maybe aim your E to hit those 3 minions and the turret, and then you should be able to auto the turret and kill it. I think that's an option. You'd have to.
Or do I just ignore the turrets? Is it better to ignore them?
It depends. How much do you need to shove the wave, right? Because all he's really doing is pushing the wave.
Yeah.
So I don't know, do you care about it? How easy is it to farm Undertale with Lux?
I mean, not the greatest, according to Curtis. According to me, it's L because I'm bad at it on anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be learned. It's not like the worst thing in the world.
Okay, then I would say with Heimer, it's kind of a feel thing. Do you need to kill the turrets? Not always, because he's just kind of there and he's gonna just place more turrets, right? I think if your jungler is coming in for a gank, then you need to start killing the turrets, because then the jungler needs them out of the way, for the most part at least.
Yeah, true.
So I would say just, if the jungler shows up, kill the turrets. If not, then I personally wouldn't care as much. I would focus on other things.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess I just need to, like, not get so overwhelmed and just chill.
I think so, but that's also easier to say than do, so don't feel bad if you can't, you know? Especially at first, like I told you, it took me years, so yeah. And then we have Swain, which I think the primary thing with Swain is dodging his E, but honestly, I don't really know how to play into Swain, so yeah, I would refer to the MLS guide.
It's just to dodge the E, and then
yeah,
that's all you can do, because that's all he needs to do. Everything else.
And as
he
you
does
said,
is...
it's coming back. That's the real problem.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about that with, what was it? I don't even remember, but yes.
Also, buying anti-heal helps.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
I used to blame support. Way back when I thought I was a good Swain, I played with support.
Yeah.
I've just noticed the time. I'm gonna go, guys. I will
Yep.
see you tomorrow.
See ya.
I gotta go as well.
Yeah.
We're done with this.
I think
So
we
much for
are
that, by the way.
done because I don't
Okay.
think there's
It's
like
been
other
great.
mid
I mean,
laners.
I've learnt a lot. So
I'm glad.
I
I'm
was
glad.
fully intending to play, and then I thought, you know what? What's one game difference going to make? Whereas this is going to make a massive difference. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we'll have the recording
So-
for later. I'll make sure to get this uploaded to YouTube.
It's amazing.
thank you all.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
See you again.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Tomorrow. Are you
See
gonna
ya.
watch